Chapter 40:18. For the first time, Su Yun felt that knowing the enemy wasn't always a sure way to win. It made him very uncomfortable. Although I'm not in charge of this, I still want to give you a piece of advice, Su Ling said. Su Ling said, if you can kill the prisoners in the prison on Mardi Fran Island in one move, do so. As for the guards in the prison on Mardi Fran Island, if you can avoid them, push them to the prisoners. Su Ling wanted them to make the right choice. Only by making the right choice could they minimize their losses as much as possible. Su Yun nodded to show that she understood. Indeed, we need to reduce unnecessary attacks. Since the guards of Mardi Fran's Island are undying warriors, then we don't need to consume too much energy to attack them. We just need to control what kind of energy we can use to defeat them and conserve our strength as much as possible. Everyone nodded to show their understanding. If they couldn't guarantee that, they wouldn't be able to survive in the Maverick prison. They had to kill their way to the bottom and rescue the prisoners. No one knew how long the whole process would take. Therefore, everyone who participated in the operation had to make sure they could last long enough. Endurance might be the key to this operation. Whoever could last the longest would be able to control the situation for a longer period of time. We're not as experienced as you seniors, so everyone who participates in the operation has to make sure they don't make decisions on their own. Su Yun's words were mainly for Bai Xiaoye. If you can't guarantee that, then stay here and don't participate in the operation. Zhuo Meiyan said calmly, don't worry about that. We all know what kind of place the Maverick prison is. We won't act on impulse. I'll listen to all the arrangements. Cho Yun didn't say much, but she still replied to Su Yun. She just didn't want Su Yun to worry about the others after going to the Maverick prison. Lin Gu nodded heavily. Brother, I'll do whatever you say. Not me, Su Yun said. I won't make any arrangements. Since Senior Lu is going, I believe that he will make arrangements for you. All right, then I'll listen to my old man. Lin Gu understood. Chen Feng didn't need to say much. I believe that my position has already been arranged. I will be with the Brothers of Dragon's Fury and will listen to orders. Boss, you don't have to worry about us. You don't have to worry about us at all. Bai Xiaoye couldn't help but speak up when she saw that everyone was expressing their opinions. Brother, don't worry. I know what I should do. Bai Xiaoye nodded. I won't cause you any trouble, and I won't do anything you don't want me to do. Pigeon, I'll leave him to you, Su Yun said to Lin Gu after getting Bai Xiaoye's promise. Lin Gu nodded. Don't worry, big brother. I promise that as long as I, Lin Gu, am still breathing, I won't let anything happen to little Yi. Not only do you have to ensure her safety, but you also have to take care of yourself. Su Yun said, I don't want anything to happen to any of you. If anything happens to any of you on Mardi Fran's Island, no matter the success or failure of this operation, I will pay for it with my life. Everyone fell silent. This was the greatest pressure that Su Yun could give them. Su Yun didn't want to do this either, but he had to make them realize how important their lives were to him. It was because these people cared about Su Yun's life more than their own that Su Yun had to do this. He didn't want anyone to pay such a big price for him. No one is allowed to fight above their level. Once you feel the pressure, withdraw from the battle. Don't force it. Su Yun's every word was spoken like an order. Shen Yuanji laughed and broke the heavy atmosphere. Brother, I believe that the people you choose aren't idiots. They know what they should do. Su Yun nodded. I also believe that they know what they should do. That's why you don't have to feel so much pressure. Shen Yuanji said, if you worry too much about them, you will be distracted. That way, you will be in danger. Su Yun took a few deep breaths to calm himself down. Senior Shen Yuanji, I understand. That's good. Shen Yuanji smiled. The Dragon Brigade members also listened carefully to Wang Yi's orders and lectures on the way here. Wang Yi's words were actually not much different from Su Yun's words. They had to protect themselves first. I promised the chief that I would bring back as many people as I brought out. Wang Yi said, this is a military promise I made. Although our operation this time isn't an official operation, the military promise I made to the chief is definitely not a joke. If there's one less person here, I'll take my head and report back. Do you understand? Yes. Everyone said in unison. We promise to complete the mission. Remember your mission and duty. Don't make any unnecessary sacrifices. As Wang Yi spoke, his gaze fell on Yu Meiren. She had been sitting in the corner all this time, not saying a word. Last night, Wan Guangxiao immediately called Yu Meiren to his office. He personally told her what Su Yun was going to face and told her a secret that no one knew. This secret caused Yu Meiren to be unable to sleep the entire night. Wan Guangxiao also said that because there was no way to stop Su Yun from going to Marty Franz Island, he had to tell her. Wan Guangxiao suggested that Yu Meiren shouldn't participate in this operation, because he believed that with Su Yun's connections and charisma, there would be no shortage of doctors in the team. So he hoped that Yu Meiren wouldn't participate. However, due to the particularity of this matter, the success rate of this operation was only 50%. So Wan Guangxiao had to inform Yu Meiren. He knew that she had the right to make her own choice. Moreover, Wan Guangxiao also told Yu Meiren a shocking secret. This secret was closely related to Yu Meiren, so he had to tell her. Wan Guangxiao knew the location of Marty Franz Island. Even if he didn't know the exact location, he knew the fixed sea area. But because of his identity, some secrets had to be hidden in his heart. Finally, Marty Franz Island was found and confirmed by Zhualengyue's people. Wan Guangxiao didn't know whether he should be happy or worried. All kinds of entanglements made Wan Guangxiao sleepless all night. But there were some things that he had to face, and some things that he had to tell Yu Meiren. He also had to tell Yu Meiren. Everyone had the right to make their own choice. Wan Guangxiao didn't want to deprive Yu Meiren of her right to make her own choice. Of course, Yu Meiren's choice disappointed him. He also knew that the result must be like this, but he still had to do it. Some secrets that he wanted to bury in his heart had to be spoken out because of this matter. He could understand Yu Meiren's heartache, but who could understand his heartache? Yu Meiren, who had been silent all the time, never left Wang Yi's attention. Wang Yi wanted to say something to divert her attention, but every time the words came to his mouth, he didn't know what to say at all. Wang Yi knew that at this moment, no one could bear the secret that Yu Meiren heard from Wan Guangxiao yesterday with her. Only she could deeply understand the weight of it. Of course, Yu Meiren didn't want others to bear the pain brought by this secret like she did. Even though this secret was almost too much for her to bear, she didn't blame the chief at all. It was very, very wrong of the chief to tell her this secret. But even so, Wan Guangxiao still did it. Chapter 4019. Marquesa Island was an archipelago formed by a few larger volcanic islands and some smaller islands nearby. It was located in the south-central part of the Pacific Ocean. The entire archipelago only had a few thousand people. It could be described as sparsely populated. On Marquesa Island, people's means of transportation weren't modern at all. Cars were almost nowhere to be seen. Of course, this wasn't because this place was backward. Instead, it was because the roads here were rugged and the road conditions were very bad. Even some cars that could withstand bad conditions would basically be scrapped in the first half of the year. The road conditions here were astonishingly bad. Therefore, the mode of transportation here was horseback. In many cases, horses were more reliable than cars. The road conditions here made driving a sports car as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Even a rich person couldn't burn a car for fun every half a year. It was said that the horses on this island were brought here by European colonists 2 centuries ago. Originally, there was nothing on this island except for coconuts, tropical fruits, coffee beans, and almost nothing else. All along, on this island that was far away from the bustling human habitation, people and horses coexisted peacefully. It could be said that there were as many horses as there were people on this island. It could be said that on average, each resident on this island had 1 horse. Some were for their own use, while others were used to receive tourists. Although this place wasn't big, there was an endless stream of tourists coming here every year. In the words of the locals, It was really too difficult for people in the bustling metropolises to seek a trace of peace in today's society. The kind of peace on this island was something that couldn't be experienced in any other city. This kind of peace could make people feel at peace. Even Zhuo Langyue, who came with such a strong murderous aura, calmed down a lot the moment she set foot on the island. The feeling that this place gave people was completely different from the feeling that other places gave people. As the person who proposed and planned this operation, Zhuo Langyue naturally had to come to Marquesa Island as soon as possible. Empress, how many people do you think Su Yun can gather? Onan stood beside Zhuo Langyue and asked faintly. At this moment, the others had all gone to do their own things, leaving only him to stand by Zhuo Langyue's side. Zhuo Langyue shook her head and replied, I don't know. If it's just those brats from the Dragon Brigade, they might not be of much use, Onan said bluntly. He wasn't looking down on anyone. He was just stating a fact. The brats from the mystical Dragon Brigade might be able to completely suppress the first and second floors of Marty Franz Island's serious criminals prison, but with their strength, it would be really difficult for them to enter the third floor and make a difference. However, Zhuo Langyue didn't think so. No, they are very useful. If there's no one holding back the first and second floors, we'll have to keep exhausting them to get through. Onan was startled. That's true. They can help us reduce some of our consumption. It's almost half, Zhuo Langyue said. Therefore, she felt that their arrival was very necessary. But, even so, it doesn't seem to be effective enough. Onan sighed. I wonder if that kid will be able to bring us some powerful helpers. Zhuo Langyue smiled. Don't underestimate him. He's Su Chen's son. You can't compare to his natural charisma and charisma. Onan was startled. Then, he laughed and nodded. Yes, I can't deny that. Even if he only inherited 50% of Su Chen's bloodline, his charisma are definitely higher than mine. 50%? Zhuo Langyue snorted. Then you think the other 50% is inherited from Yun Luyen? Onan was suddenly speechless. He realized that he seemed to have said something wrong. Back then, the Yun family's influence was the greatest in the entire underground world. Yun Luyen was also a woman who had hundreds of people responding to her call. She was as glorious as she could be. That's not what I meant, Onan said helplessly. All right, I know that's not what you meant. Zhuo Langyue waved her hand, indicating that she didn't care anymore. But don't forget that he still has a godfather, Zhang Jiaji. Onan smiled bitterly. Zhang Jiaji was a guy whose strength was above the 5 war gods. If Zhang Jiaji didn't leave so early, he would probably have broken through to the profound sky realm by now. Empress, you mean that with Zhang Jiaji's influence, there will be many people who will step forward bravely at this time? Onan asked. Zhuo Langyue smiled. What else? Do you think Zhang Taisui's reputation is just empty talk? I wouldn't dare. Onan shook his head. Everyone knows Zhang Taisui's character. Like many people, I respect him. Yes, there's a reason why everyone respects him. Zhuo Langyue said indifferently. At this time, I definitely don't believe that those people will stand by and do nothing. Those people? Onan was stunned. Zhuo Langyue smiled. Although Su Yueling has always hated me, so much so that she removed the Yu in her name and changed it to Su Ling, she might have no choice but to stand behind me this time. At this moment, Onan also understood who Zhuo Langyue was referring to. If they can lend a hand, we will be like a tiger that has grown wings. Onan finally smelled the scent of victory. Zhuo Langyue could hear the excitement in his voice. It wasn't there before. Onan, tell me the truth. You didn't see any hope at all before this. You didn't think that we would win. You thought that we would definitely die. Onan was silent for a moment. He nodded and admitted, that's true. However, I couldn't help but think that way. The hope was really too slim. Since you don't have any hope of winning, why did you choose to do this with me? Zhuo Langyue asked again. Onan really didn't know how to answer this question. He had never thought about this question before. If the hope of winning is so slim, Or if you don't see any hope at all, why did you still take the risk with me? Zhualangyue looked at Onan. I don't know. Onan's answer was very simple. However, this was the only answer he could think of at this moment. He really didn't know why. However, he had supported Zhualangyue so firmly at that time. Even though he knew that this was something that would never return, he still did it. He himself didn't know why. Zhualangyue believed that this was Onan's true answer. She and the 5 war gods weren't friends. They weren't master and servant. It seemed that they didn't have any kind of relationship. However, they had all fulfilled their vows for so many years. Because they had lost to her, they were willing to do whatever they could for her. This was their vows back then. However, Zhualangyue had also said that she would never force them to do anything that they didn't want to do or that was beyond their abilities. They all remembered this. This time, the matter was beyond their abilities. If only a small portion of them took action, it could be said that they were sending themselves to the prison for serious criminals. However, they still didn't hesitate at all. No one could give a reason as to why they did this. I believe that those people will also stand behind Su Yun for no reason. Zhualangyue said, it's just like how you guys are willing to help me without any reason. Even you don't know what you're doing now. It's the same for me. I don't know why you're doing this. However, we'll stand together for the same goal and trust each other. Onan nodded. He understood what Zhualangyue was trying to say. Indeed, some things didn't need a reason or a reason. When it should appear, it would naturally appear. Things would naturally develop in that way. Perhaps I didn't have confidence in the beginning. But now, I do. Zhualangyue smiled and said, none of us knows what will happen next. It's been like this from the beginning. Chapter 40-20. Wang Yi led his brothers from the Dragon Brigade to Qingdao before the sky darkened. Su Yun had also asked Bai Xiaoye to arrange a banquet early. It was the first time that so many people had come to his place. As the host, he couldn't neglect these brothers who had gone through fire and water together. Moreover, these people would be going to such a dangerous place with him tomorrow to do something so dangerous. The core members of the Dragon Fury team stood in front of Su Yun. Hua Leitang, Han Zhan, Qian Feng, Fan Shuang'er, Gong Sunlang, Hua Xiaolu, Chu Shi, Bai Songguang, and Wen Xiao, who had just returned, were all present. In addition to them, many people from the Dragon Prestige team and the Dragon Battle Special Forces had also come. They had all volunteered to be brought by Wang Yi. With Wan Guangxiao's tacit approval, Wang Yi had brought them. Gong Zhouxiao, Tang Zhao, Ma Tengfei, and Yuan Yujiang from the Dragon Prestige team. Yuan Qingdi, Xing Zhe, Ma Fubang, and Guan Liang from the Dragon Battle Special Forces. These people all had one thing in common, which was that they admired Su Yun very much. They approved of Su Yun from the bottom of their hearts and were willing to risk their lives for Su Yun. Even if they weren't from the same special forces and sometimes had a competitive relationship with each other, they appreciated each other the most at this time. Of course, there was also Yu Meiren, who seemed to be in a particularly unstable mood. Ruan Qingshuang was a careful person. She immediately saw that Yu Meiren wasn't in a good mood. She immediately took her to a place with fewer people and chatted with her, trying to make her relax. The arrival of the large group gave Su Yun a lot of confidence. He didn't expect that Wang Yi would bring so many people. It was far more than he had imagined. Did Chief really agree to let you bring so many people here? Su Yun laughed dryly and said to Wang Yi, you're overstepping your authority. I remember that the Chief only allowed you to bring Dragon's Fury's brothers out. Regardless of whether he allows it or not, I've already brought these people here. Now, even if I want to change it, I can't. Wang Yi said, that's why I have to bring back as many people as I bring out. Otherwise, I'll leave them all in your hands. Su Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You're giving me too much pressure. Kid, don't think too much. I'll help you shoulder all this pressure. Wang Yi smiled and patted Su Yun's shoulder. Just take care of your own matters. I've already promised the Chief that I'll definitely bring these guys back. Not a single one will be left behind. Su Yun really didn't know what to say to thank his master for his support and help. Stop lecturing the younger generation. To think that the reason we're able to gather here today is because of this brat. We should properly thank him. Lu Xianyu pulled Wang Yi away. We have to drink a cup. Looking at the senior's back, Su Yun seemed to see the scene of the underground world decades ago. He would never know what kind of love and hatred had happened in the past. Boss. Han Zhan came behind Su Yun without him noticing. You know something about the prison guards on Mardi Franz Island, right? Yes. Su Yun nodded. You've heard about it too? Han Zhan nodded. At this time, Hua Leiteng, Gong Zhouxiao, Emperor Yuan Qing, and the others also came over, and the other brothers followed. We've heard about it too. Hua Leiteng said, Master has already told us about it. It's really a tricky thing. I hope you can remember one thing. You are the most important. Su Yun said, stay where you should be. Don't do anything beyond your level. As long as you don't do anything beyond your level, I believe you can definitely escape unscathed. Boss, don't worry. Wen Xiao said, I won't let any of them do anything beyond their level. Emperor Yuan Qing said lightly, Yen Long, don't be distracted by us. We're here to support you, not to distract you. He's right. If you still have to worry about us because of our arrival, then what's the point of us coming here? Gong Zhouxiao nodded heavily. Do what you should do. We'll follow your orders. Everyone expressed that they would take good care of themselves and the brothers around them. They didn't need him to worry about them. Su Yun smiled and looked at everyone. Then I'll say one last thing to you. You must remember that your mission is different from mine. My mission is to save people, and your mission is to give me the greatest support under the condition that you can escape unscathed. You must remember your preconditions. Everyone nodded. Master has made a military order in front of the chief. If any of you hold him back, you'll do harm to him. Su Yun raised his voice a little. Remember what you need to do the most. Don't do anything that you'll regret. We promise. With these people's promises, Su Yun felt less pressure in his heart. This must be something that Wang Yi had repeatedly emphasized to them, so they knew very well what they should do. At this time, they absolutely couldn't let their emotions affect their decisions. At this time, they needed 100% execution. The team's execution was the biggest guarantee for victory. Boss, I have a few words to say to you alone. Han Zhan said again. Su Yun came to the side with him. Han Zhan pointed to Yu Meiren, who was chatting with Ruan Qingxuang and the others. Along the way, Dr. Yu doesn't seem to be in a good state. I don't know what happened, but her current state is really worrying. Su Yun glanced at Yu Meiren's direction. To be honest, he didn't want Yu Meiren to participate in this operation, because Su Yun believed that Wu Qiuzi would definitely appear. Although there was no movement from the old man until now, he wouldn't be unaware of this matter, nor would he stand by and do nothing. With the vicious fairy Dr. Wu Qiuzi's words, Su Yun didn't want Yu Meiren to participate in such a dangerous matter. But now that she was here, this was obviously her own choice, and no one could stop her. Su Yun didn't try to persuade her to leave. After all, she could come here with Wang Yi, which meant that even Chief Wan Guangxiao couldn't keep her in the team. So Su Yun knew very well that he couldn't persuade her to leave. Of all of us, you are the calmest. Su Yun looked at Han Zhan and said, I'll leave her to you. Never leave her side, and ensure her safety at all times. Han Zhan nodded and said with a serious expression, I will protect her, and I will never let anyone hurt her. That's good. Su Yun said, I trust you the most. Han Zhan smiled. He knew what Su Yun meant, because he wasn't like the other brothers, who didn't care about anything once they were in a killing frenzy. Only Han Zhan could guarantee that he knew what was the most important thing at all times. What I'm not sure about now is what she's thinking. Han Zhan said, if she's feeling down because she's too worried about you, I still need you to help her untie the knot in her heart. Su Yun nodded. He understood what Han Zhan meant. I'll talk to her alone, Su Yun said. At this time, Ruan Qingxuang and Yu Meiren were talking about something. Yu Meiren's face finally showed a faint smile. Zhua Meiyan and the others also joined in the conversation. Su Yun definitely won't be willing to let you go to that place with us. That place is so dangerous. Why don't you stay here with Sister Qingxuang and wait for our triumphant return? Do you think that's possible? Bai Xiaoye stuck out her tongue. My brother and so many of his brothers are going. If she stays here, she won't be at ease. That's true. We'll definitely get hurt, and we do need someone to help us solve our problems. Zhua Meiyan could see that Yu Meiren was feeling down, so she only said this to cheer her up. Yu Meiren smiled faintly. I will do my best to help you. We will also ensure your safety. Chou Yun said calmly beside Yu Meiren. She knew that she wouldn't be of much use in this operation. After all, her strength was limited. However, she believed that she was absolutely indispensable to protect Yu Meiren. Chapter 40-21. The role of a doctor was very important in a team battle. Everyone knew that if anyone found out that there was a doctor in the other team, they would immediately find a way to deal with it. Although healers didn't seem to have any effect on the battlefield on the surface, they were extremely important in a prolonged battle. As long as there was a doctor, they could ensure the safety of their own people to the greatest extent. With this guarantee of safety, as a warrior, they could be more unscrupulous in battle. However, if a doctor was killed in a team, the morale of the team would be severely damaged. Therefore, Yu Meiren's position was quite dangerous and also quite important. Even if Chou Yun used her life as a shield, she would never let anyone hurt Yu Meiren. Fan Shuang also walked to Yu Meiren's side. Everyone will protect you. Don't worry, we won't let anyone hurt you. I'm not afraid of this. Yu Meiren realized that she had made everyone worried and quickly explained, Don't be distracted because of me. I'll be fine. I'll protect myself. I won't rashly go forward and cause trouble for you. Yes, they have me by their side. Don't worry. Fan Shuang smiled. Now, she was no longer a simple warrior in the special forces. She had also learned a secret medicinal technique from Huang Fu Guo. In battle, in addition to fighting side by side with her brothers in the special forces, she could also use the pharmacology she learned from Huang Fu Guo to help her brothers around her. She believed that she could play a key role in the battle because she knew how important pharmacology could be in a battle. Perhaps some people didn't think so, but they would believe it after seeing it for themselves. She could rely on elixirs to let her people take the initiative and take the lead. She could also interfere with the opponent in battle and reduce their combat effectiveness. These were all things that medicine could do. At the critical moment, the right medicine could change the whole situation. Huang Fu Guo told Fan Shuang so. At first, Fan Shuang didn't think so. She thought that strength played a key role. But later, Huang Fu Guo used his actions to tell her that although strength was indeed very important, when the two sides were evenly matched, Huang Fu Guo's words were the truth. Do you know how happy I was for you when I found out that Senior Huang Fu had actually brought you back from the dead and that you were following him and receiving his lifelong knowledge? Yu Meiren said, Really, if I hadn't seen you with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it even now. Fan Shuang smiled faintly. Yes, even she herself didn't dare to believe that she was still alive. In fact, all of them knew that Su Yun was the most excited one when he heard the news. However, Su Yun didn't show his excitement at all. He tried to look as calm as possible, and there was a reason for that. If he got too excited, the others might get too excited as well. If that happened, it would be difficult to control the atmosphere of the entire team. He needed to treat Fan Wushuang's reappearance as a very normal thing and subtly influence the others to feel the same way. After all, everyone's attention was now affected by many things, so it was easy for them to be restrained. So, Su Yun controlled himself for a reason. There were too many things that he needed to control. What are you guys talking about? Look at you guys chatting so happily. Su Yun walked over at the right time, interrupted Yu Meiren's topic, and asked her directly, Did you get the permission of the leader to come here this time? If you didn't, you will definitely get a big demerit when you go back. Maybe you will be fired like me. Zhuo Meiyan said, "It would be great if you were all fired." "Didn't you get rehired?" "Rehired?" Su Yun was stunned for a moment before he laughed and said, "You're talking as if I've retired. I'm not being re-employed. I'm walking right into a trap." "So, it would be great if Yu Meiren was really fired this time. Don't walk into a trap." Ruan Qingxuang also laughed. "It would be great if you could all stay here. The things you do in your brigade are dangerous. If everyone thinks like that, there won't be anyone left in the Dragon Brigade." Yu Meiren also laughed. "Then who will protect the country? If you don't carry a gun, I don't carry a gun, who will protect our mother? Who will protect her? Who will protect her?" Lin Gu sang as he walked over, "If you don't carry a gun, I don't carry a gun, who will protect our country? Who will protect our home? Who will protect our home?" Bai Xiaoye was speechless. "It's not your turn to sing, right? You're not a member of the Dragon Brigade." "Xiaoye, you can't say that. It's not like I haven't done anything." Lin Gu said, "Let's talk about what we did in the United States with our brother. Didn't we protect our country and home? Didn't we get a very important name list? Didn't we make a great contribution?" "Okay, you're good," Bai Xiaoye said. "Also, my brother is my biological brother. Don't join in the fun. In my heart, he's my biological brother too." Lin Gu said, "Don't be so selfish. After we save Senior and Uncle Su, I'll kowtow to him and acknowledge him as my godfather. I don't believe he'll reject me." Bai Xiaoye pursed her lips and laughed. "You're really shameless. Do you really want to squeeze into our family?" "Yes, how about it? Am I welcome?" Lin Gu laughed. "How about I change my name to Su Gu?" At this point, Bai Xiaoye was a little dazed. After being born for so many years, her mother gave her the name Bai Xiaoye to cover up her identity. She had been surnamed Bai for so many years. If her father could successfully save Su Gu, would she still be surnamed Bai Xiaoye? That seemed a little too much. After all, if she could successfully rescue Su Chen, then she would be considered a child with both parents alive. No matter what, she would have to follow her parents' surname no matter what. Su Xiaoye? That sounded so awkward. Zhua Xiaoye? That doesn't sound nice either. After so many years, Bai Xiaoye was already familiar with her own name. Now, she had to face the choice of changing her surname. It seemed really difficult. What are you thinking about? Are you also thinking about whether you should change your surname? Su Yun saw through Bai Xiaoye's thoughts. If it were up to me, you shouldn't change it. You'll be called Bai Xiaoye in front of everyone. After so many years of fatherly and motherly love, if you don't call yourself Bai Xiaoye, you won't be able to remind them of what they owe you. Bai Xiaoye thought about it. That was indeed true. Yes. I'll be called Bai Xiaoye. Bai Xiaoye said. Wait, I'm talking about me. I'm talking about changing my surname, not you, Lin Gu said. Everyone chimed in one after another. At this time, Su Yun brought Yu Meiren to the window and asked directly, "Are you thinking about something?" Yu Meiren glanced at Su Yun, then immediately shifted her gaze to the window. She was thinking about something, and it was a very serious thought. But how should she say it? She really didn't know if she should tell Su Yun about it. After Wan Guangxiao told her this secret, he had been regretting it, but he had to say it. After all, this matter was too important to Yu Meiren. If Yu Meiren didn't know this secret, she wouldn't be able to control herself if something unexpected happened on Mardi Fran Island. In the end, Wan Guangxiao left Yu Meiren with a difficult problem. That was, should he tell Su Yun this secret? If she told Su Yun, would he be affected by this secret? If she didn't tell Su Yun, would he not be able to handle it when something unexpected happened? All of this was a choice that was neither yes nor no. There was no vague concept. This was the difficult part. In short, this was a very difficult fact for Yu Meiren to accept. However, she knew that it was a difficult fact for Su Yun to accept. Should she tell him or not? Yu Meiren was in a daze. This choice was really difficult. She really didn't understand why the chief asked her to make such a decision. Chapter 4022. Yu Meiren couldn't understand Wan Guangxiao's decision now, but the moment she made a choice, she would understand Wan Guangxiao's decision. Because only when she could constantly face this problem and make a choice in her heart, when the critical moment came, she could really face what she had to face. This was Wan Guangxiao's ultimate intention. What do you want to say? Su Yun frowned. He was very sure that Yu Meiren must have a secret in her heart. Yu Meiren wanted to blurt out the things in her heart several times, but every time, she hesitated. If she told Su Yun this thing at this time, it would completely affect all of Su Yun's battle plans. This was for sure, so Yu Meiren couldn't say it. Although she didn't tell Su Yun now, if Su Yun really encountered it later, it would also be a kind of torture for him. But in that case, Su Yun couldn't stop, and the possibility of Su Yun encountering this thing was not 100%. Even if it was judged according to probability, Yu Meiren shouldn't say it. After experiencing thousands of entanglements in her heart, Yu Meiren finally raised her head and shook her head at Su Yun. Nothing. Your condition is really not very good. Su Yun, if you have any pressure, tell me, I won't tell anyone else. I'm just helpless because we can't go all the way to the bottom of the Mardi Fran Island serious crime prison with you. Yu Meiren said, that's why I've been feeling uncomfortable. When Su Yun heard Yu Meiren say this, he breathed a sigh of relief. It's nothing, don't worry. You just have to ensure the logistics of those guys. But if you guys are injured, who will do emergency treatment for you? Yu Meiren said worriedly, after all, this isn't just a matter of attacking. You guys still have to come out. There needs to be a guarantee that you guys can enter and leave safely. If there's no one to treat your injuries, how can you guys escape unscathed? Su Yun smiled and said, that won't happen. I can handle it myself. Yu Meiren shook her head. That's not the same. Your treatment is based on the premise that you can continue fighting. The emergency treatment that we doctors do is the only thing that can truly guarantee your safety. Su Yun shrugged his shoulders. Then it's up to fate. If no one can help us, then I can only accept my fate. Dinner is ready. Bai Xiaoye received a notification from the kitchen. There were so many of them that they needed 3 large round tables to sit down. When the kitchen delivered all kinds of exquisite dishes, everyone couldn't help but marvel at the chef's culinary skills. Wang Yi even joked that this meal was prepared at the standard of the Last Supper level. It felt as if they were going to be on their way after this meal. Wang Yi glared at him, blaming him for not knowing how to speak. A good dinner had been ruined by him. Wang Yi quickly apologized and admitted his mistake. Only then did dinner truly begin. However, just as Su Yun raised his glass and was about to say something, a familiar figure walked into the banquet hall. You guys didn't wait for me at such an important banquet. The old man looked travel-worn. Isn't this a little too much? Everyone looked over in surprise. No one expected Wu Qiuzi to appear at such a time. If I didn't sit down, who would dare to drink this wine? Wu Qiuzi snorted with laughter. Wu Qiuzi, who was known as the poisonous fairy doctor, was not only a person with brilliant medical skills, but also a person who could come and go like a ghost and use poison that was absolutely frightening. Even if he only appeared in this room and said that the wine couldn't be drunk, no one would dare to try it. It was very likely that they would be poisoned to death after drinking a mouthful. Su Yun's face revealed a smile. He glanced at Yu Meiren not far away, as if to tell Yu Meiren that she didn't have to worry about him now. It was up to the heavens. The heavens had arranged this old man for him, so he had nothing to be afraid of. Su Ling couldn't help but smile. She muttered to herself, this kid's reputation is really big. Of course. Otherwise, how could he be my brother? Xian Yuanji, who was sitting beside Su Ling, said, if you insist on being in the same generation as Su Yun, then call me auntie like him. Su Ling rolled her eyes at Xian Yuanji. She was Yun Liuyan's best friend. Someone who was in the same generation as her called Yun Liuyan's son-brother. It made her feel very awkward. Xian Yuanji chuckled and didn't say anything else. I knew you would definitely come. Su Yun laughed. Pour me a full cup of wine. Since I'm late, I'll punish myself with 3 cups. Wu Qiuzi smiled and said, and I believe that if I don't drink, no one here would dare to drink, right? Although this was a joke, it really made one's hair stand on end. Lu Xianyu's scalp went numb. Eating with him is really a challenge. Xian Yuanji's attention wasn't on this. If there was someone in this room who dared to drink his wine before Wu Qiuzi drank, it would definitely be him. His attention was on how Wu Qiuzi addressed him. This old man actually called Su Yun brother. It seemed that he was a straightforward person. Otherwise, he wouldn't have addressed him like this. Wu Qiuzi and Wan Guangxiao should be the ones calling each other brothers. Su Yun was a junior in front of Wan Guangxiao. Therefore, in Xian Yuanji's eyes, Wu Qiuzi was someone he could drink with. I think that before we finish this, you shouldn't drink anymore. Su Ling suddenly reminded Xian Yuanji. If you delay things because of drinking, I don't need to say anything. Will you be able to forgive yourself? Xian Yuanji was stunned for a moment. In the end, he put down the wine cup in his hand. It wasn't that he hadn't delayed things because of drinking. Su Ling naturally had her reasons for saying this. Originally, Xian Yuanji was prepared to accompany Wu Qiuzi and drink 3 cups in a row. In the end, he could only watch Wu Qiuzi drink 3 cups in a row. He was really envious. He simply turned his head and didn't look. When Yu Meiren saw Wu Qiuzi, her expression relaxed. With the vicious fairy doctor following them, it was definitely going to be amazing. It could be said that Wu Qiuzi by Su Yun's side was comparable to Yu Meiren and Fan Shuang'er by the side of the other brothers of the Dragon Brigade. Although Wu Qiuzi was not proficient in pharmacology, he was proficient in toxicology. His poisons would definitely be able to greatly reduce the defensive ability and offensive desire of the opponents around him. Although his poisons were meaningless to the guards of the Mardi Fran Island prison for serious criminals, they were an absolute nightmare to the prisoners held there. After drinking 3 cups of wine, Wu Qiuzi sat down with a smile. I thought you couldn't get so many people. Wu Qiuzi looked at the people around him and said to Su Yun, it seems that I don't need to go with you with the mentality of visiting the King of Hell's palace. Of course. Xian Yuanji said, with us around, do you think that even the King of Hell's palace can stop us? Wine sword immortal, ha ha ha. You're drunk before you even drink. Wu Qiuzi turned back and said, the place we're going to this time may really be the King of Hell's palace. If we're really left behind, we won't be able to say anything. Don't worry, I'm prepared to be left behind. Xian Yuanji said, even if we're left behind, it's not a big deal. You're not afraid, are you? Wu Qiuzi shook his head. I think that if I'm left behind, the ones who should be afraid should be the ones who are locked up on the same floor as me, because they'll all die soon. Good. You're bold. Su Yun raised his cup and stood up. Then let's toast together. After dinner, we'll prepare to go to the airport and fly to Masa Island overnight. Come on, what are we waiting for? Let's hurry up and eat a few more mouthfuls and drink a few more cups. Xian Yuanji looked at Su Ling carefully, as if to ask if he couldn't miss this cup of wine that everyone was drinking together. Su Ling was really helpless with him, he whispered. After drinking this cup of wine, before this matter is over, you'd better not touch a drop of wine, or else our friendship will really be broken. Okay, I'll listen to you. Xian Yuanji was the first to drink. Chapter 40-23. After 3 rounds of drinks, everyone had become more familiar with each other. Zhuo Meiyan stood up and walked to Su Yun's side. She patted Su Yun's shoulder and said, don't drink too much. The alcohol has long been expelled. Don't worry, I won't drink too much at a time like this. Su Yun smiled. Everyone present had profound internal energy. A few glasses of wine wouldn't make them drunk at all. You have an important matter to settle tonight, Zhuo Meiyan said. I've thought about it for a long time. I think I should discuss it with you first. Su Yun was taken aback. Is there anything else important? It's very important. Zhuo Meiyan looked around and finally fixed her gaze on Ruan Qingshuang. Su Yun was a little worried. Is there a problem with Qingshuang? No. Zhua Meiyan said, "All of us, except for Ruan Qingxuang, will go to Marty Franz Island with you." "Yes." Su Yun nodded. Ruan Qingxuang wanted to go too, but she knew that she wouldn't be of any help. She would only cause trouble and worry for others, so she would control herself. Zhua Meiyan said, "The only one who isn't in danger is her." Su Yun was stunned. He seemed to realize what Zhua Meiyan wanted to say. Although she doesn't have the ability to control the entire Sky Entertainment Group, she's very popular. The employees of the Sky Entertainment Group respect her. Even if she's the only one left in the future, the Sky Entertainment Group will still stand strong, Zhua Meiyan said. The meaning of this was very clear. Zhua Meiyan was preparing for the worst. The worst-case scenario was that they would all be wiped out. It wasn't impossible. Even if they had so many people around them, and so many legendary seniors had helped, who were the people locked up in the prison on Marty Franz Island? There was no lack of peerless experts among them. Therefore, under such circumstances, the ratio of success and failure was still 50-50. There was still a possibility of failure. Moreover, failure meant that he would sink into oblivion forever, and this kind of oblivion would never allow him to rise again. Failure would be complete, but they had to face this possibility. If they really failed, at least Sky Entertainment Group had Ruan Qingxuang to support it. If we really can't hold on, then we'll have to trouble her. Although Su Yun was not a pessimistic person, his rationality still told him that this situation must be considered. "Do you really think that she'll be able to persevere if we fail and she's the only one left?" Zhua Meiyan asked. Su Yun was silent for a moment. "If it really comes to that, Chong and the others will come from Shenzhen to help her." "I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is the support of her faith and her psychological support. That would be completely shattered." Zhua Meiyan said, "Once she reaches that stage, she will need a mental support that will give her the confidence and motivation to continue." "This is very important." Su Yun frowned. He knew this in his heart, but this kind of faith and motivation was not something that could be casually said. "What should we do?" Su Yun was not good at this kind of thing. He hoped that Zhua Meiyan could give him a suggestion. "It's not what we should do. To be precise, this is a problem that you should solve." Zhua Meiyan said, "The only person who can give her faith is you. You must do something that you should do." Zhua Meiyan's words made Su Yun fall into a daze. What she said made sense. Su Yun should do something, but what should he do for Ruan Qingxuang? Old Tai Sui is a celibate. He has no children. He once said that you are his son. You will inherit everything he has. Zhua Meiyan continued, "And now, you have no choice but to do this. You must leave behind a successor." Su Yun suddenly understood. So that was what Zhua Meiyan meant. Zhua Meiyan looked very optimistic on the surface, but in her heart, she had been preparing for the worst. In the worst case, she had to leave behind a descendant for Su Yun. Of everyone, only Ruan Qingxuang would stay. She was the only person who could leave behind a child for Su Yun. Not only would this guarantee that Ruan Qingxuang would have faith and motivation, but it would also allow everyone to leave without hesitation. Zhua Meiyan had been thinking about this for a long time. However, she did not say anything. She knew very well that everyone present, including herself, would be selfish when it came to Su Yun. However, this situation did not allow her to be selfish. Even if she had to give Su Yun to Ruan Qingxuang, she still hoped that Su Yun would leave behind a child, leaving behind the hope of Sky Entertainment Group. That way, she could leave with more peace of mind. "We won't be left behind. I promise that everyone will return safely," Su Yun said slowly. "Everyone will make such a promise, but no one can eliminate that 50% chance of failure." Zhua Meiyan smiled. "Just listen to me. Just pretend that you're doing this for Ruan Qingxuang. Otherwise, if something really happens, will she have the courage to live?" Su Yun fell silent. "Just pretend that you're doing this for her. You have to do this too." Zhua Meiyan said, "I don't dare tell her because I'm worried that she'll be even more worried and afraid if she hears. She'll lose hope in our mission." Zhua Meiyan had put a lot of thought into this matter. She couldn't let Ruan Qingxuang worry about this matter, nor could she make others feel uncomfortable. She could only secretly tell Su Yun her thoughts. Su Yun nodded. He understood Zhua Meiyan's good intentions. Let's end this early. I'll arrange for everyone to rest. I'll give you some time alone with Qingxuang, Zhua Meiyan said calmly. She was already very selfless to make such a decision. While Zhua Meiyan was diverting everyone's attention, Su Yun stepped forward and grabbed Ruan Qingxuang's hand. Then, they left the scene. The buzzing of the plane tore through the sky. Everyone closed their eyes and rested, waiting for the plane to land. The flight to Marsa Island would take at least 6 to 7 hours. Everyone was prepared to use this time to recharge their energy. After all, they weren't sure if they would attack as soon as they got off the plane. Therefore, every minute and every second was very important. Everyone knew that once they landed on Marsa Island, it would mean that they wouldn't have a single minute to rest. Now, everyone must cherish every second of leisure. The plane was as quiet as a lake. There wasn't even the slightest breeze. Yesterday, when Su Yun and Ruan Qingxuang left, everyone had been paying attention. However, no one had asked about it. Perhaps there were some things that everyone already knew. But for some reason, it seemed that no one had anything to worry about. Ruan Qingxuang didn't send them to the plane. She didn't even send them out of the hotel. The moment the car disappeared from the entrance of Sky Entertainment Hotel, Ruan Qingxuang's teary eyes slowly calmed down. She realized what she should do. She knew how she should face everything that was about to happen. No matter what, she would take care of Sky Entertainment Group while they were gone. Su Yun asked her in her ear if she wanted a child. This sentence seemed to be hovering in her ear. At first, Ruan Qingxuang didn't understand. But the moment the car left, she understood everything. Although everyone's face was full of smiles, making her mistakenly think that things were much simpler than she had imagined. But now, it seemed that things weren't simple at all. Even Su Yun was prepared not to return. How could Ruan Qingxuang accept this? But now she had to accept it. They were gone. All she could do now was pray for them. At the same time, she also prayed for herself. She hoped that she could give birth to a son or daughter for Su Yun. Even if the worst happened, she could continue the Su family's bloodline. Chapter 40-24. The weather on Marquesa Island was very sultry, especially during this season. Even in the early morning, people would feel unbearably sultry. Ling Feng rushed over last night and received news from Dong Hai. The unrest in the prison for serious criminals was still ongoing. However, because the prison on Marquesa Island was filled with undead guards, the prisoners in the prison hadn't made any breakthroughs. The current situation was almost the same as a few days ago. The riots were still fermenting. Onan walked behind Ling Feng with 2 bottles of beer and said, "You rushed over so late last night and woke up so early today." "I couldn't sleep." Ling Feng took the beer from Onan's hand and asked, "Drinking in the morning?" "Just treat it as having a meal." Onan laughed and said, "The food here is really not to my taste. Only the beer is not bad. It's pretty good." "You like this beer?" Ling Feng took a look at the beer. Many young people knew about this brand from the racing movie and followed the trend to drink it. As a result, most of the beer from Hua Xia was fake. Onan shook his head and said, "But I don't have a choice. You know that I like our domestic pure beer the most. It doesn't matter what brand it is. You definitely can't buy it here. Hee, you don't have a choice. It's not bad to drink some of these. Anyway, these foreign beers are basically fake in our country." Ling Feng said, "As long as you like it." "Do you think Su Yun can bring enough manpower to us?" Onan took a big gulp of beer and said, "I don't know why, but I feel uneasy these few days." "You think too much." Ling Feng said, "We don't need to worry about that. Let that kid worry about it himself. You really have a big heart." Onan laughed and said, "If we really fail this time, we will have fun for the rest of our lives." "I don't think we will fail." Ling Feng shook his head and said, Even if we fail, we won't fail in that damned prison. Onan took another gulp of beer and said, I know. Even if you die 100 times, you won't let the Empress be trapped in the prison for serious criminals. But the problem is that we may not have that many chances. If you don't have a chance, then find a way to fight for a chance. Ling Feng gulped down all the beer in the bottle and said, if the 5 of us can't even protect the Empress, we don't need to continue living in this world. Well said. Onan also finished his beer in one gulp. A plane slowly descended from the sky not far away. Ling Feng and Onan's gazes landed on it. That kid, Su Yun, is pretty good. You've only just arrived, and he's already here. He's pretty efficient, Onan said with a smile. Ling Feng had some doubts. How could it be so fast? Kongshan was also woken up by the sound of the plane. This island was too small. Even the slightest movement at the airport could be heard clearly. After he walked out of the room, he saw that Ling Feng and Onan had already woken up. He said, let's go. Let's go to the airport to see what's going on. There's no need to look. If he's one of our own, he'll definitely be able to find us. Onan shook his head. Ling Feng felt that this was not Su Yun and the others, so he walked towards Empty Mountain. Let's go. I'll go with you and take a look. Seeing this, Onan had no choice but to follow him. Let's go together. I don't have anything to do by myself anyway. The 3 of them walked towards the airport while the sun had yet to fully rise. When the 3 of them arrived at the airport, the plane had just landed. Su Yun and the others were not among the crowd that walked out. Just when Onan was feeling a little disappointed, Ling Feng sighed in surprise and said, I didn't expect them to actually come. Onan and Kongshan followed Ling Feng's gaze and looked over. The few people that appeared in their line of sight indeed surprised them. The ancient magpie world of the Hunter School. Other than him, there was also the chief instructor of the Hunter School, Dongfeng Fan, the second instructor, Tang Yiping, Bai Jian, Song Wuli, Chiu Hongxing, Yong Wenlin, Il, and a kid that they had never seen before. Don't tell me these people are here to give face to that brat Su Yun? Onan looked at Ling Feng in disbelief. Ling Feng smiled. Did the Empress gather them? Or did she arrange for you to come? Or did someone look for the ancient magpie world? Of course not. The ancient magpie world has such a weird temper. It's impossible for the Empress to have any interaction with him, Onan said. Then do you think the ancient magpie world will come here because of you? Ling Feng asked. Onan clicked his tongue. I don't have that much influence. Then he can only come here because of Su Yun, Ling Feng told Onan seriously. The ancient magpie world from the Hunter School brought 8 of their instructors here. I reckon even the Empress wouldn't have thought of this. Kongshan was quite surprised by this. I'm afraid it's not the 8 instructors. Ling Feng frowned. He didn't see Yi Yuan, one of the 8 instructors. Instead, he saw a young boy standing beside Yi Shui. Ling Feng seemed to be deep in thought as he said, That's right. Who is that young boy? He's so weak, yet he was brought here? This distance was already enough for them to spy on the mental strength of a weakling. The ancient magpie world naturally sensed that someone was spying on their strength. Their eyes immediately locked on to the 3 of them. There's Hua Lengyue's men. Dongfeng Fan smiled and said to the ancient magpie world, Principal, you should be very familiar with them. The ancient magpie world said indifferently, Of course I'm very familiar with them. After he finished speaking, he walked forward to welcome the 3 of them and said bluntly, I didn't expect someone to be waiting for me at the airport so early in the morning. The service is very considerate. Please thank Hua Lengyue on my behalf. Ling Feng welcomed him with a smile. Principal Gu actually came here. We're really shocked. However, I'm afraid the Empress doesn't know that you're here. We don't seem to be here to pick you up. I don't care if you are or not. Now that we're here, are you going to let us walk over ourselves? The ancient magpie world had always been very direct. You all know why we're here. Don't waste time keeping us in suspense. Principal Gu, this way please. Onan smiled and said, however, we really have to walk over. There's no special vehicle on this island. The ancient magpie world waved his hand and smiled. Let's go then. With the addition of the combat power from the hunter school, the strength of the entire team would definitely increase greatly. Alright, Principal Gu, why don't I see Yi Yuan? Kong Shan asked. Did you leave him on the plane? The ancient magpie world waved his hand, indicating that there was no need for him to ask any more questions. He then walked straight ahead. Did something happen? Ling Feng realized what was going on when he saw that no one had any intention of speaking. Yi Shui finally couldn't hold it in and said, don't ask too much about things that don't concern you. It's our decision whether he wants to come here or not. It has nothing to do with you. Sorry, we spoke too much, Onan said. It won't hurt the harmony. Onan didn't want to cause any disharmony at this time, so he immediately changed the topic. Who's this kid? Principal Gu, you brought this kid with you on such an important occasion. He must be an elite that you're going to nurture, right? The ancient magpie world didn't want to talk too much. He usually didn't like to socialize with outsiders. This time, he came purely to resolve the crisis and trouble, not to make friends. He has to come, the ancient magpie world answered the question. Why? The ancient magpie world said sternly, because Su Yun is his godfather. Wouldn't it be unfilial of him if he didn't come for something like this? Therefore, he has to come. It doesn't matter if he's strong enough to stand on Marty Fran Island. He has to come. I'll go to Marty Fran Island with you. I'm not going to stay on Marsa Island. It's no different than staying at home, Bu Fifan said firmly. Chapter 40-25. When this sentence came out of the mouth of this young boy, it was quite surprising. After all, with his little strength, if he were to be placed in the prison of Marty Fran Island, he would only be able to hang around on the first floor. It could even be said that as a mid-level super expert, he was in danger of dying at any time on the first floor of Marty Fran Island's prison. However, since Bu Fifan was here, he would not be a coward. He said that he was here to fight on behalf of Yi Yuan. Yi Yuan had not recovered from his injuries yet. Although he did not want to be absent, the ancient magpie world still decided to let him stay and recover. On the night he left the Hunter Academy, the ancient magpie world also talked to Yi Yuan about what would happen if they failed. The Hunter Academy needed someone to guard it, so the ancient magpie world gave this important task to Yi Yuan so that he could recover and protect the Hunter Academy. Yi Yuan could not sleep the whole night after hearing this. However, this was the headmaster's decision, so he could only obey. Since Yi Yuan could not come, Bu Fifan gave himself the title of replacing Yi Yuan. This would give him endless confidence and motivation, so the ancient magpie world did not say anything and agreed to let him fight on behalf of Yi Yuan. Moreover, this matter was closely related to him. His relationship with Su Yun was different. The ancient magpie realm had received this news from Wang Yi. Bu Fifan realized that Yi Fala, who was far away in the Shen River, definitely did not know about this. He had thought about this very deeply but had not informed Yi Fala in the end. Therefore, Yi Fala did not know anything about this. Bu Fifan was not afraid of these three men who were called war gods at all. This was because he did not know how strong they were. If he knew that even the weakest of the three was slightly stronger than the headmaster, he probably would not be able to open his mouth. Not bad, your bones are amazing. You have a good future. Onan looked at Bu Fifan and laughed. Su Yun's godson, then. Doesn't that mean we're his grandfathers? Bu Fifan ignored them. He knew that this guy was just trying to take advantage of him. However, the ancient magpie world nodded and admitted, that's the theory. Principal, you're allowing them to humiliate me. Bu Fifan glanced at the ancient magpie realm unhappily. If I suffer this loss, my instructors will suffer as well. However, Ling Feng said indifferently, your instructors are originally one generation lower than us. You didn't lose out at all. Perhaps you don't know, but they are all capable helpers of the Empress. And your godfather, Su Yun, has to call the Empress his stepmother, Gu Magpie Jie said faintly. Stepmother. Bu Fifen's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Empty Mountain saw Bu Fei Fan's shocked expression and smiled. It looks like you didn't tell this child the history he should know. It doesn't matter whether he knows about the past or not. Gu Magpie Jie said, the less he knows, the more he can focus on his studies and cultivation. If you know too much, you'll be distracted. Kong Shan nodded, expressing that this was reasonable. Principal, you just said that they are the Empress's people. Bu Fifen seemed to have just understood. Could it be that they are those 5 people? Gu Magpie Jie nodded and strode forward. Dongfang Fan, Tang Yipeng, and the others followed. Bu Fifen was left alone with his mouth wide open. This time, he really didn't expect it. All right, don't be so useless. Yi Shui looked back at the stunned Bu Fifen. Your godfather is still very powerful. This time, the principal didn't bring you out for your combat power. He just wants you to broaden your horizons. You'll meet a lot of big shots from your hunter school. So, you'd better be mentally prepared. Don't embarrass our hunter school. What was there to be embarrassed about at this time? Bu Fifen didn't care about his image anymore. He ran behind Ling Feng. He saw 3 of the 5 war gods at once. These were all big shots that he often talked about with his friends in school. There were too many legends about these people in the martial arts world. If he got their signatures, he would definitely shock his friends in school when he went back. It was a pity that he didn't bring a pen and paper this time. It was such a good opportunity. What a pity. You are. Bu Fifen ran behind Ling Feng and asked carefully, Lightning Ling Feng? Yes. Ling Feng answered. Can I take a picture with you? Bu Fifen followed closely. Oh Nan laughed on the spot. Looks like you're a little fan of lightning. Come, let me take a picture for you. Now is not the time to relax. Gu Magpie Jie said without turning his head. Bu Fifen immediately stopped being a fan. However, he couldn't help but look at O Nan again. He really couldn't believe that this guy was the legendary Thunder O Nan. There was also the Hurricane Empty Mountain, which was much quieter than he had imagined. It was almost as if they did not speak easily. Apart from O Nan's loose lips, which made him lack the temperament of a peerless expert, Ling Feng and Kong Shan did have the temperament of a war god. Come, I'll take a picture with you. Don't listen to your principal. Take a picture and post it on your WeChat moments. I don't know if you'll have the chance to take a picture if you wait until the whole thing is over, O Nan laughed. Maybe you won't last until the whole thing is over. Bu Fifen frowned. I won't last until the end? Maybe you're the one who won't last until the end. Oh my, your temper really suits my taste. O Nan was not displeased by Bu Fifen's disrespect. Instead, he was quite satisfied with Bu Fifen's attitude. The people from the hunter school felt helpless. O Nan was trying to poach Bu Fifen right in front of them. Kid, you weren't taught by your principal at the hunter school, were you? Did Yi Yuan teach you? Or who? Yi Shui. O Nan glanced at Yi Shui. He continued to blabber, if I'm willing to teach you myself, your strength will improve a lot. You'll improve a lot faster than if you were taught by them. When O Nan said this, Yi Shui frowned. Dongfang Fan and the others also seemed to be a little displeased. However, O Nan had no intention of stopping, unless your principal teaches you himself. I admit that I don't have as much experience as he does, and I might not be able to help you improve as quickly as he does, but I can obviously help you a lot more than your instructors. Pulling a seedling to help it grow might not necessarily help a person grow faster. Gu Magpie Jie did not stop. O Nan laughed. It seems like Principal Gu is getting nervous, but everyone has their own ambitions. If he really wants to learn from someone else, you can't stop him, can you? If he really wants to learn from someone else, that's fine. I hope so, Gu Magpie Jie said. Gu Magpie Jie said, but I hope that he can find someone who is truly brilliant, and not someone who has no experience in teaching. Onan was rendered speechless by Gu Magpie Jie's words. Even he suddenly felt that he had no advantage over Gu Magpie Jie. I know what I want, Principal, Bufifan said faintly. He followed behind the crowd and ignored Onan. Ling Feng also felt that Onan was asking for trouble, so he gave him a way out. Go back and inform the Empress that Principal Gu is here. This isn't your place, so there's no need to inform me. I'm not a guest, and you're not the host. There's no reason for you to receive me, Gu Magpie Jie said bluntly. But we came earlier, so it's only right for us to make the necessary arrangements, Ling Feng insisted. Now that Onan had a way out, he did not waste any more time. He quickly ran to a hotel where they were staying. They had booked all the homestay-style accommodations. Anyone who came because of the matter of Marty Franz Island's major criminal prison could stay there without a problem. Chapter 40-26. I'm Looking for Bai Liang. The old man with white hair and a youthful face exuded an immortal aura. While Bai Xiaoye and Su Yun were away, Ruan Qingxuang asked Feng Ying to arrange for a new hotel manager. He wasn't an outsider. Li Moran was born with great strength. Although he had been working in the opposite company, he was familiar with the hotel. Although the old man's clothes were very ordinary, Li Moran felt that he had an indescribable aura. Sir, please take a seat in the lounge. I'll help you find him immediately. Li Moran arranged for the old man to sit in the hotel's lounge and ordered someone to serve him a cup of tea guanyin. The old man smiled to express his gratitude. While the old man was drinking tea, Li Moran quickly went to the kitchen to find Bai Liang. Little Dong Bei, come out quickly. It might be your relative. Do you have a grandfather or something? Bai Liang was startled. My grandfather died a long time ago. If he came to find me now, it would only be in my dreams. Don't talk nonsense. What nonsense am I talking about in broad daylight? An old man came to find you. If it's not your grandfather, then it's my grandfather. Li Moran said, Go and take a look. Little Dong Bei was really puzzled. When did he know this old man? Recently, he hadn't learned how to help an old man cross the road. He also hadn't met anyone with Alzheimer's disease who needed his help. Someone shouldn't be thanking him. With a stomach full of doubts, little Dong Bei came to the lounge in the hotel's lobby. When he saw the old man for the first time, he was completely dumbfounded. He rubbed his eyes hard and shouted in disbelief, Old man, is it really you? You're not dead yet. This greeting really surprised Li Moran. He really couldn't estimate the old man's age. It was possible to say that he was 100 years old, but people would definitely believe that he was only 60 years old. It was the temperament of a century-old man and the body of a 60-year-old man. Little Dong Bei, what nonsense are you talking about? This is an old man, Li Moran said awkwardly. The old man waved his hand indifferently. I've long been used to his mouth. I didn't expect it to not change after so many years. Old man, how did you find this place? Bai Liang's face was filled with excitement. To be honest, he was happier than anyone else. It felt great to see the old man. Bai Liang liked this feeling. There's no one I can't find. The old man smiled. There's no place I can't go. Bai Liang patted his chest and said, Did you see that, old man? I'm now the chef of this 5-star hotel. Directors was said that if there's a chance, I'll apply for a 3-star Michelin restaurant. When the time comes, I'll be a 3-star Michelin chef. The old man said disdainfully, Is a Michelin chef that powerful? Of course. Bai Liang nodded. If Michelin chefs aren't good, are you? It's not like you don't know that this old man likes to eat in one bite. There are no top-notch restaurants in the world that I haven't been to. There are also some that are simply **tea. The things they make are all self-righteous, saying that they want the original taste of the ingredients. Some things are disgusting to begin with. The old man spat. Bai Liang laughed. Then just order whatever you want to eat. I'll make it for you. Coming here is equivalent to coming to your own home. We can have whatever you want to eat. Pig head meat dipped in garlic paste? Many of the old man's memories were evoked by Bai Liang. I'm really craving for it. Then I'll go prepare it for you now, Bai Liang said. Don't prepare it. I'm not here to eat with you this time, the old man said faintly. His expression slowly became serious. Where's that kid Su Yun? You're following the right person now. Call him over. I have something to talk to him about. Bai Liang was stunned. You know our director Su? I know a lot of things. The old man said, Don't talk nonsense. Call him over and tell him that I'm looking for him. Old man, you may know a lot of things, but you don't know that our director Su isn't at home today. Bai Liang smiled and said, Also, don't act like you have a lot of face. I'm now working for Director Su. Your identity. The old man frowned. He treats you like a worker? That's not it. Director Su has always treated me like a brother. Bai Liang was still very touched. But I have to know myself. If it weren't for Director Su, I wouldn't be where I am today. Don't be sentimental. Where did he go? Call him immediately. I have something important to talk to him about. Tell him that it's extremely urgent. The old man's expression was already very serious. Little Dong Bei shook his head. I'm afraid I can't do this. He got on the plane a long time ago. I don't know where he's flying to now. They have something to do on a small island in the Pacific Ocean. He's already gone. The old man was shocked. When did this happen? After dinner last night, he left in the wee hours of the morning. Little Dong Bei said, Old man, what's the matter with you? You're being so mysterious. I'm a little flustered because of you. The old man didn't have time to explain to little Dong Bei. Then why didn't he bring you along? Why would he bring me along? Little Dong Bei was startled. They said that they're going to a very dangerous place. With my level, I won't be able to guard the door at all. Instead of being a burden, it's better to let me stay and do something. Little Dong Bei didn't know how dangerous this matter was. Su Yun didn't let too many people know because he didn't want them to worry too much. Moreover, Su Yun needed helpers who could cooperate with him as much as possible. Although little Dong Bei was a good swordsman, he didn't practice martial arts after all. He might be able to kill everyone on the first floor of the prison on Mardi Fran Island, but without martial arts, he wouldn't be able to support his physical exhaustion. The most important thing was that Su Yun needed people who could cooperate with him. This was also why Wan Guangxiao didn't inform the few people who had left Sky Eye and joined the Dragon Brigade. Although they were also powerful fighters, Wan Guangxiao didn't think they were suitable. In short, Su Yun had his reasons for not letting little Dong Bei go. Su Yun also had his reasons. Those who weren't informed naturally had their reasons for not being informed. Some things weren't a good thing for everyone to participate in. So, you don't even know what they're going to do now. The old man sighed. It seems that Su Yun doesn't really intend to let you enter the underground world. He still thinks that it's best for you to be an ordinary person. Haha, I think the same. Old man, can you stop being so mysterious? Just say what you want to say. Bai Liang frowned. I don't even know what you mean now. Do you know where they're going? The old man asked. Bai Liang shook his head. I don't know. Then let's go. I'll take you to them. The old man's face showed an imperceptible smile. Stop teasing me. Hurry up and tell me what you want to eat. I'll make it for you now. Bai Liang said helplessly. You don't even know where they are and you're taking me to them? Old man, did you forget to take your medicine today? A trace of displeasure appeared on the old man's face. Do you not believe anything I say? That's because you're unreliable. Little Dong Bei chuckled. How about this? Since you've come to Qingdao, I'll cook a seafood feast for you and drink a few glasses of beer with you? Is that okay? I'm not joking with you. The old man said, Then I'll try your cooking. I have to take you away. Little Dong Bei still didn't believe the old man's words at all. He waved his hand impatiently. Let's go. Follow me to the kitchen. I'll let you take a look. Tell me what you want to eat." The old man frowned and sighed. In this world, there was probably only one ignorant person who dared to do this to him, Feng Wuyin, right? There were many things that were better left unknown. Those who didn't know weren't afraid, and those who didn't know weren't afraid. Feng Wuyin liked little Dong Bei because of his ignorant state. In any case, he and this child were quite fated. It was a pity that Bai Liang was born with an incomplete foundation. His martial arts cultivation wouldn't have any great breakthroughs or progress. Therefore, it was already not easy for him to learn a good saber technique. He should be satisfied with this. It was a very good situation. Chapter 40:27. Although Bai Liang said that he didn't have much scruples about Feng Wuyin, he actually respected him very much. It could be seen from his cooking. Even if it was a simple garlic scallop, the temperature of the garlic ingredients was very particular. This was because he knew that the old man liked to eat in one bite. Back then, it was also because of the old man that he was able to be where he was today. Although he had lost a lot of pig head meat, he was still willing to do so. Little Dong Bei had made all kinds of sea cucumbers, abalones, and delicacies, but the finale was a pig head roast meat. Although so many years had passed, Bai Liang still remembered Feng Wuyin's favorite dish. A plate of freshly baked sesame seed cakes was placed beside the pig head roast meat. The sesame seed cake was known as the famous cake in the north. It had a history of more than 100 years, and Feng Wuyin liked to eat it very much. The sesame seed cake made by Bai Liang was golden in color. The thin layers overlapped, and the inside and outside were crispy. It was fragrant and delicious. Moreover, this kind of sesame seed cake was placed in a food bag and could be stored for a long time. It wouldn't get tired or rot, and it tasted the same as when it was just out of the pot. When customers stayed in the restaurant, they would buy some and leave with them. Because Bai Liang's sesame seed cake production process was more strict, the flour had to be fermented. During the autumn and winter seasons, the mixing water was gentle, and all aspects were done perfectly. Only then did it have the perfect taste. This was also the reason why Feng Wuyin liked to eat it. The old man rolled the pig head roast meat into the sesame seed cake and took a bite. His mouth was filled with fragrance. This taste was really amazing. "Kid, you're good." Feng Wuyin smiled. "This taste is really getting more and more perfect. As long as you like it, I'll make it for you every day in the future." Little Dong Bei chuckled. "Are you trying to send me off when I'm old?" Feng Wuyin said as he ate. "If this matter can really be resolved smoothly, then it's not a bad idea. I'll let you send me off when I'm old. It's pretty good." Bai Liang scratched his head. "Old man, you keep talking about this matter. Could it be that President Su's matter has something to do with you? Why do you want to get involved in this matter so much?" Feng Wuyin frowned. "It's not that I want to get involved in this matter, but I have no choice but to do so." "What do you mean?" He really didn't understand what the old man was saying. "Fine, there's no harm in telling you," Feng Wuyin said calmly. "The place they are going to this time is called Marty Flan's Island. This island is in the southeast of the Pacific Ocean. It is an active island. With the movement of the ocean currents and the Earth's crust, the island will occasionally change its position and disappear on the surface of the sea." Disappeared into the sea. Bai Liang's eyes widened. Feng Wuyin nodded. "Therefore, nature's uncanny workmanship is always amazing. Therefore, hundreds of countries in the world have joined forces to imprison those felons with terrifying abilities here. This is because ordinary prisons can't hold these people at all, and the guards can't guard these people either." Bai Liang sucked in a breath of cold air. "That's why the prison was built on this island." Feng Wuyin continued, "No country is willing to manage this prison because the people locked up in this prison are really troublesome. Moreover, even those small fries who have been imprisoned are not easy to deal with. If there is no country to manage them, who will take care of them?" Bai Liang did not understand. "Undying guards," Feng Wuyin said. "The ones guarding these people are all undying guards." Bai Liang rubbed his eyes. "Old man, I didn't give you any alcohol. Have you eaten too much pig's head meat? Too much oil? Are you drunk? Feng Wuyin ignored Little Dong Bei and continued, there are elite warriors in all the countries in the world, but some of these warriors died unnatural deaths, and some died on missions. The corpses of these people were sent to a secret laboratory through top-secret channels to be implanted with cutting-edge artificial intelligence computer chips, allowing them to come back to life. You're saying that these dead people are being resurrected through scientific experiments? Little Dong Bei really couldn't accept what he heard. That's right. The scientifically developed artificial intelligence chip can control their bodies and allow their bodies to undergo normal metabolism. Moreover, it can read the memories of these warriors' bodies and grasp all their fighting skills and combat experience when they were alive, Feng Wuyin said. They become undying warriors. After hearing all this, two words popped out of Bai Liang's mouth. F***CK. Old man, what medicine are you taking now? Stop taking it. It's time to change your medicine. This medicine isn't good at all. It can't cure your dementia. Bai Liang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He obviously couldn't believe these things. Have you watched too many sci-fi movies? If you don't believe me, you can come with me to take a look. Feng Wuyin said, in any case, Su Yun and the others are facing these people this time. The undying guards and extremely vicious criminals. If they fail, none of them will be able to return. Bai Liang was stunned when he heard this. Feng Wuyin continued calmly, moreover, I'm sure that if I don't go, they have almost no chance of winning. Bai Liang suddenly remembered that he had heard Bai Xiaoye say something like 50 to 50 chance of success, many times. At this moment, he finally had a rough idea of what Su Yun and the others were going to do this time. He finally felt the danger of this matter. What they're going to do is actually so dangerous. Bai Liang was stunned for a moment. No wonder Sister Frost was so absent-minded after they left. So that's how it is. He doesn't want you to go because he knows your situation, so he doesn't want you to know the truth. He treats you as a brother, Feng Wuyin said calmly. Feng Wuyin said calmly, if you treat Su Yun as a brother, then you have to go. This is a friend. Bai Liang nodded vigorously. Of course I have to go. I didn't know before, but now that I know, I definitely can't ignore it. I can bring you there, but you have to promise not to run around. You'll only be safe if you stay by my side, Feng Wuyin said. If you're more than 5 steps away from me, I won't be able to guarantee your safety. Do you understand? Feng Wuyin's strength was not something that those fellows in the prison dared to imagine. Even if Feng Wuyin didn't do anything, those who could withstand his pressure within 5 meters had to be at least qualified to be locked up on the 4th floor of the prison. The people on the first 3 floors didn't even have to think about such a thing. Then what can I do if I go? Bai Liang was stunned for a moment. If he followed but couldn't do anything and only needed the old man's protection, wouldn't he become a burden? Feng Wuyin smiled. You've learned something. Learned. This was probably the shortest joke Bai Liang had ever heard in his life. Since we're brothers, then we have to act like brothers. Feng Wuyin continued, if you're not by your friend's side when they're in trouble, you'll definitely regret it. No matter if it's a success or failure, at least everyone should bear it together. Bai Liang nodded vigorously. I'm willing to bear it. Feng Wuyin pointed at the seafood delicacies. These things aren't as delicious as the sesame seed cakes and roasted meat you make. Let the brothers in the kitchen eat them and reward them. This way, they can do their work properly when you're not around. Yes, I understand. Bai Liang nodded and said, then when are we leaving? By the way, old man, I don't know where they went. No matter where they went, they will eventually reach Marty Franz Island, Feng Wuyin said. I'll bring you there directly. You'll naturally see them when you get there. You can even find that kind of island that's sometimes erratic? Bai Liang was dumbfounded. Feng Wuyin didn't answer. Not only could he find it, but he had found it many years ago and confirmed the pattern of the location of this island. Although it was difficult to control, he still understood it clearly. Originally, he thought that this matter would only happen after 3 to 5 years or even 8 to 10 years. He didn't expect it to happen so early. He didn't know if Su Yun was ready. But now, it was not up to him to decide. Regardless of whether he was ready or not, he had to obediently accept everything that was happening. Chapter 40-28 Little Dong Bei, by Liang, was taken away by old man Feng Wuyin without knowing anything about the entire incident. Of course, before he left, Bai Liang also thought of Jie Su, who was subdued by Su Yun after he subdued Heaven's Eye. He had heard from Bai Xiaoye that Jie Su's strength was not to be underestimated, but he was willing to stay in the Sky Entertainment Group as a security guard. It was a waste of his talent. Therefore, Bai Liang requested for the old man to bring him along. Feng Wuyin smiled. Do you think that Su Yun didn't bring anyone along because he was worried that you wouldn't be able to hold on if you went? What else? Bai Liang was a little confused. He really couldn't understand what other reason there was for Jie Su to stay. Of course, there's another very important reason. Feng Wuyin said indifferently, I don't believe that the men of the Su family won't consider the worst when they do such a thing. Bai Liang looked at Feng Wuyin as if he understood. If he's prepared for the worst, then he'll stay there like his father and never come out again. Feng Wuyin smiled. If he's not stupid, he'll definitely leave behind a bloodline for the Su family. Although I don't know too much about him, you just said that when that kid left, someone was very sad. What's her name? Ruan Qingshuang. Bai Liang was stunned for a moment. If I'm not wrong, she's definitely a woman who's willing to give birth to a son or a daughter for the Su family. Feng Wuyin said indifferently, this kid is really like his father. He's charming, has peach blossoms, and is so popular with women. Old man, what are you thinking about? Little Dong Bei didn't have so much time and energy to think about these questions. However, Feng Wuyin believed in his own judgment. Su Yun isn't a fool. If he really wants to leave a bloodline for the Su family, he'll definitely arrange for someone to protect and pass on his skills. Bai Liang really couldn't imagine how Feng Wuyin came up with these deductions. Wasn't his brain too terrifying? Ruan Qingshuang must be a weak woman, Li Tianlan said. Feng Wuyin continued, anyone with a cultivation base by his side will definitely not let go of the opportunity to go through fire and water with him. Almost every word he said was incomparably precise. Bai Liang was so shocked that he couldn't close his mouth for a long time. If she was a martial cultivator, she would definitely go with Su Yun. Feng Wuyin smiled slightly. The reason why she didn't go, other than the fact that she doesn't have martial cultivation, is because she wants to leave behind the bloodline of the Su family. And how can a woman without martial cultivation help the bloodline of the Su family open the martial cultivation enlightenment? Old man, are you saying that it was Su Yun's arrangement to not go to Jedao? He wants to stay. Bai Liang couldn't continue speaking at this point. Because such an outcome meant that he was prepared for the worst. This is the worst-case scenario. If the people who go can't come out, Feng Wuyin said calmly, at least we still have these. But, why is it quitting hypocrisy? If Su Yun wants someone to stay, it must be someone trustworthy. Why can't it be a pigeon? Bai Liang was stunned. Feng Wuyin looked straight into Bai Liang's eyes. Pigeon? Bai Liang nodded. Lin Gu. Lu Xiaoxie's last disciple? Feng Wuyin was stunned for a moment. Ha ha ha, as Su Yun's brother who has gone through life and death together, do you think he can stay? Moreover, the tacit understanding between him and Su Yun is probably the same as that of the Dragon Brigade's brats. They are all top-notch. Without him, it would be a huge loss of combat strength. Bai Liang seemed to understand a little. Although Jedao's strength was also good, he didn't have much tacit understanding with Su Yun after all. In the future, he might only be able to fight alone. He wouldn't be able to form a situation where 1 + 1 is greater than 2. The effect would definitely be far inferior to Lin Ji's. Then, do you think Su Yun trusts him? Bai Liang asked. If he doesn't trust him 100%, would he let this kid you mentioned stay in the Sky Entertainment Group? Feng Wuyin said, based on my understanding of the Su family, none of them can stay in one place for a long time. Therefore, it's impossible for him to stay here. Is it possible for him to let someone he doesn't trust stay here? Bai Liang finally understood. From the first day Jedao came here, Su Yun had 100% trust in him. For a person who was subdued to follow him, winning Su Yun's trust might be the greatest touch in his life, Feng Wuyin said. There's a saying that goes, a drop of water will be repaid with a gushing spring. He will stay here to repay the favor. With this arrangement, if Su Yun and the others failed on Marty Franz Island, they would be able to feel slightly more at ease. He really doesn't plan to come back? Bai Liang was a little flustered. It's not that he doesn't plan to come back, Feng Wuyin said. It's that he doesn't have 100% confidence in coming back. No, he doesn't even have 50% confidence in coming back. Bai Liang felt a lingering fear just thinking about it. Old man, then you'll bring me there. If you go and help them, will they be able to come back 100%? Feng Wuyin smiled and was silent for a moment. In the end, he said something that made Bai Liang's heart turn cold. 50%. Old man, you're so powerful. You know everything. You still said 50%? More or less, right? Little Dong Bei was so flustered that he didn't know what to say at all. When they go, they have a 50% chance of coming back. Seeing that Feng Wuyin didn't say anything, Bai Liang continued, you don't know at all. They have many powerful characters. Feng Wuyin's expression became much more serious. Many powerful characters. Even if the 3 emperors, 5 war gods, and all of Zhang Lingji's sworn brothers go together, they still don't have a 50% chance of winning. Feng Wuyin didn't say the second half of the sentence. Moreover, Mao Bo, one of the 3 emperors, was dead. Zhang Lingji, who was closest to the strength of the 3 emperors, had already died. Old man, are you really the old man I know? The you I know is very optimistic. Bai Liang was a little anxious. Feng Wuyin laughed out loud. It's me. I'm indeed very optimistic. That's why I said that if I come, there's a 50% chance. If I'm not optimistic, there's at most a 45% chance. Little Dong Bei was completely unhappy. According to what you said, they shouldn't go. If they go, they'll be courting death. Then why didn't you, who knows everything, stop them earlier? There are some things that it's meaningless to stop. Feng Wuyin gave Bai Liang a deep gaze. What should happen will happen sooner or later. Time is uncontrollable, and no one can control it. How could Bai Liang understand what he was talking about? Confucius said that at 30 years old, at 40 years old, no doubts, and at 50 years old, one knows one's destiny. How old was Bai Liang? How much experience did he have? What about Feng Wuyin? Therefore, some of the things that Feng Wuyin said were things that he couldn't understand at his age. This was very normal. I don't understand what you're talking about, but I beg you, you must help them. Bai Liang's face also became exceptionally serious. It was as if he had grown up in that instant. Feng Wuyin smiled slightly. It seems that the more difficult it is to overcome, the more trouble it is to solve, the more it can make a responsible man mature. When are we leaving? How are we going to go? Bai Liang couldn't wait any longer. It's not your place to worry about such things. Feng Wuyin said, follow me. I have my own arrangements. Chapter 40-29. The calm Pacific Ocean seemed to have sensed that something was about to happen. The surface of the sea was so quiet that it made one feel uneasy after looking at it. Even though Zhuo Langyue didn't have much of a relationship with Gu Magpie Jie, she still invited him to have breakfast together. While they were having breakfast, a plane that was about to land on the island appeared in the sky. To be honest, Marsa Island wasn't a particularly famous scenic spot in the Pacific Ocean. As such, there weren't many tourist flights. Especially during the hottest season, the ultraviolet rays could even penetrate a house and cause people to explode from the heat. It must be the Su family's brat this time, Onan said. With his godson around, we don't have to welcome him, right? Upon hearing this, Bu Fifan stood up excitedly. Su Yun actually came so quickly. That was great. I'll go with you, Yi Shui stood up and said. Bu Fifan followed closely behind Yi Shui. Both of them returned to the airport. However, when they walked out, they heard the Empress's words. I feel that it's not them. I'm afraid it's not only Wang Yi and the rest who went to Qingdao to look for him. If I were him, I would probably wait for a few more days, Zhuolangyue said faintly. Unless he's not that smart. Even a smart person won't wait for too long in this kind of matter. Gu Magpie Jie didn't think so. Perhaps you won't be able to understand his feelings. Zhuolangyue raised the corner of her mouth slightly. Is that so? Then do you think you can understand my feelings? Of course not. Gu Magpie Jie said, I can't understand you or him because you guys are different from us. This is a difference in principle. I should really thank you for coming here despite saying such things. Although Zhuolangyue said this, she didn't express any gratitude at all. Gu Magpie Jie laughed heartily. There's no need for that. You don't have to thank me. I'm only here to give face to my elder brother, who asked Zhang Taisui's godson to come here to stir up trouble. If it were anyone else, I wouldn't have come. Even though Gu Magpie Jie wasn't as powerful as the Empress, his words weren't ambiguous at all. He made it clear that he wasn't here to give face to Zhuolangyue, so she didn't need to say anything else. Principal Gu, it's easy for you to lose friends if you talk like that, Ling Feng reminded. After all, everyone was here to cooperate. There was no need to be so distant. Ancient Magpie Realm nodded. That's true. However, I'll say this first. Aside from myself, Zhue Ming, and Lone Wolf, the rest of the people I've brought are all on the 3rd floor and above. Only the 3 of us will continue to go down with you. Zhuolangyue knew what he meant. That's good. I don't need people who can't take care of themselves to travel with me. Naturally, the Empress didn't beat around the bush and directly expressed her attitude. She didn't care if the others could take it or not. They will make their own arrangements, said Gu Magpie World. You only need the 3 of us to know what you plan to do. There is no plan for this kind of thing. Zhuolangyue said, Marty, we've only heard about the prison for felons on Franz Island. None of us have really seen it. So, any plan that I make is meaningless. The ancient Magpie Realm didn't have much of a reaction. That means you don't have a plan. That's right. No plan. Zhuolangyue said, No plan is my plan. I like it. The ancient Magpie Realm smiled. It's good that you like it. Zhuolangyue didn't look at him. I believe that those who like this plan aren't incompetent people. I'm very gratified that you like this plan. Dongfeng Fan knew that his strength was far inferior to the Empress's, but he still had to say something for the sake of the principal. Empress, compared to you, who isn't an ordinary person. Even the 5 war gods are the same, right? Zhuolangyue glanced at Dongfeng Fan. Zhue Ming from the Hunter School is considered a famous person in the underground world. After meeting you today, I'm really a little disappointed. Dongfeng Fan was stunned. Are you sure you can really survive on the 4th floor of Marty Franz Island? Zhuolangyue's voice was still casual. Maybe some things aren't as simple as you think. Dongfeng Fan was actually speechless. Strength was the best proof of a person. Unfortunately, Dongfeng Fan really couldn't come up with anything to prove his strength. In front of these people, his strength was naturally a little weak. I naturally understand my people. Sometimes, when people are crazy, they will exceed their standards. The ancient Magpie World supported his people. When Zhuolangyue heard this, she was happy. It was good to be crazy when people were around. People like Su Yun and Su Chen were born crazy when they were around. They would become strong when they met the strong. The ancient Magpie World was also like this. If Dongfeng Fan and Tang Yipeng were like this, it would naturally be great. Then I'm really looking forward to it. After Zhuolangyue finished speaking, she didn't say anything else and continued to eat her breakfast. Yi Shui didn't stop because of their words. Although she could still hear Zhuo Langyue's distrust towards them, she knew that they weren't here to gain her trust. To the people from the hunter school, even if Zhuo Langyue was one of the 3 sovereigns who stood above everyone, and even if she was the empress who could command the 5 war gods to risk their lives for her, all of this didn't matter to the people from the hunter school. Yi Shui didn't care if this matter had anything to do with Zhuo Langyue. She didn't even care if this matter had anything to do with the headmaster. Yi Shui just wanted to return a favor to Su Yun. For Yi Shui, her mission here wasn't what they all thought. Her mission here was to protect Bu Fifan and return a favor to Su Yun. She also wanted to let Yi Yuan, who was far away in the hunter school, not worry so much. The 2 soon arrived at the airport, but the people they saw weren't what they expected. Only 2 people walked out of a private plane. "Old man, you are really generous this time. You are willing to spend so much money on a private plane." The young man chuckled and said, "You are usually so stingy. This time, I even doubt if you are still you. I called you back from abroad and let you take such a luxurious plane with me. It's fine if you don't say a few words of thanks, but you still say that to me?" The old man frowned and said, "It seems that you are more capable now." The young man hurriedly waved his hand and shook his head. He said, "I don't dare to say that in front of you. You are you, a firecracker with a different voice. Then why did you keep talking along the way? Why did you complain about taking a private plane?" The old man glared at him. "It's not that I don't like it, but you booked a private plane. How are you going to go back?" The young man said helplessly, "I heard that Masa Island doesn't have a proper flight route. Those who come to this godforsaken place to play are all rich and free. Basically, they charter their own small planes." The old man snorted, "I came here to help that little bastard surnamed Su. How can he not find a way to send me back after this matter is over? Even if I don't ask him, he will be embarrassed to not do something. All right, I'm impressed. Old man, you really know how to save money." The young man sighed. "If I were Su Yun, I would be completely speechless. Anyway, when the time comes, I will not go back with you. I will take a plane with him. You can ask for it yourself. Don't make me ask for it. Little bastard, what do you think I want you to do?" The old man kicked him. When Yi Shui and Bu Fifan heard the other party mention Su Yun's name, they immediately went forward to greet them. Although they didn't know them, they were sure that they were here for the same thing. Chapter 40-30. You're quite well prepared. You've arranged for someone to pick us up. The elder saw the 2 of them and came forward. "Fei Eyes, we may be few in number, but we're also respected." Xie Fei Eyes thought that this old man was still as prideful as before. If he wasn't like this, perhaps not so many people would call him Old Heretic Lu. "Who are you? Su Yun's men? Or Zhuo Lingyue's men?" Lu Xuanji asked the 2 who came forward. Yi Shui heard this and shook her head expressionlessly. "I'm Su Yun's man." Bu Fifan admitted quickly, "Who are you?" "We're from the hunter school." Yi Shui immediately corrected Bu Fifan. They couldn't be considered Su Yun's men. This lowered the status of the ancient magpie world. Although this didn't matter, and the ancient magpie world came because of Su Yun, she still had to show her identity as the principal. Lu Xuanji heard this and laughed. "So you're Little Bird's men." Yi Shui's expression changed when she heard this. Little Bird. This guy actually called their principal Little Bird. Yi Shui had never heard this nickname before, but she had heard some gossip from Yi Yuan and the others about the principal when he was young. It was said that the principal's sworn brother gave him a nickname, Little Bird. Because there was a magpie in his name, he was called Little Bird. However, not everyone could call him that. The number of people who dared to call him that could be counted on one's fingers. "You are?" Yi Shui frowned. If this person was qualified to call the principal Little Bird, she would treat him with respect. However, if this guy didn't have the qualifications and still dared to call him that, Yi Shui would definitely turn hostile. "He probably told you who I am." Lu Xuanji smiled. He likes to call me Old Heretic Lu. We're old friends. Yi Shui suddenly realized that this person was the evil god. Because she had lived in seclusion for many years, she had only heard of him from the principal. No wonder he dared to call the ancient magpie world little bird, Senior Lu, Yi Shui said. No need to be so polite. I don't have that many rules. Lu Xuanji smiled. I didn't expect you guys to arrive so quickly. I thought I would be the first to arrive here. Yi Shui motioned for Bu Fifan to come over. This is Senior Lu. According to seniority, you should call him Grandpa Lu. Bu Fifan was stunned, and so was Lu Xuanji. His name is Bu Fifan. He's Su Yun's godson. Yi Shui said, he's in the Hunter Academy with us. Pretty good. Forget about calling me Grandpa, it sounds awkward, Lu Xuanji said. Are Su Yun and Pigeon here yet? Bu Fifan shook his head. Old Master Lu, they haven't arrived yet. We thought they were the ones on the plane you came to, so we rushed here. Where is old Gu? Lu Xuanji did not call the ancient magpie world little bird anymore because he finally realized that he had to save some face for the ancient magpie world in front of the children. This nickname was not domineering and would easily make the younger generation lose respect for him. The principal and the empress are having breakfast, Bu Fifan said. We will bring you there now. Okay. Lu Xuanji said, coincidentally, I'm also hungry. I wonder if there's anything delicious on this island that Zhuo Langyue arranged for us to gather here. When they returned, Zhuo Langyue had already eaten breakfast. The ancient magpie world did not have much of an appetite, and the food in front of him was almost untouched. When Lu Xuanji appeared, the usually calm ancient magpie world was slightly excited. I didn't expect an old man like you to come too. We haven't seen each other for so many years, and this is how you welcome me. Lu Xuanji laughed. I'm an old man, which means that you're not young anymore. Ha 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 ha. Hello, Principal Gu, CFA Eyes greeted him. Dongfang Fan and the others from the Hunter Academy also came forward to greet Lu Xuanji. I didn't expect Fei Eyes to be so mature now, Ancient Magpie World said with a smile. Lu Xuanji did not only think about the relationship between brothers. He immediately said to Zhuo Langyue, you, the Empress, have good taste. This place is really great. I like this kind of environment where people are passionate. Evil God, are you mocking me for choosing a place that's too hot? Zhuo Langyue smiled faintly. Lu Xuanji did not stand on ceremony. He sat on a chair beside Ancient Magpie World and ate the uneaten breakfast in front of him. I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart. My old man likes this kind of environment, CFA Eyes said from the side. Originally, Zhuo Langyue wanted to thank them for coming. However, when she thought about how Ancient Magpie World understood that they came to give face to Su Yun, Zhang Taisui, and Su Chen, who was in the prison for serious criminals on Mardi Fran Island, it was not because of her, so she did not say any more polite words. However, Lu Xuanji suddenly expressed his gratitude. Empress, we really have to thank you for today's matter. If it wasn't for you, us brothers might not be able to meet again in our lifetime. Zhuo Langyue just smiled faintly and expressed her gratitude. Old Evil Lu, I don't understand. Why did you come personally with your health condition? Ancient Magpie World said this not because he wanted to change the topic, but because he suddenly thought of this point. Lu Xuanji's physical condition was not optimistic. This was not a secret to many people, especially after he imparted his skills to Lin Gu. His condition should be even worse. I know my own body best. Lu Xuanji shook his head. Besides, I didn't come here to risk my life with you guys. Ancient Magpie World was startled. What do you mean? You can't expect me to do such a dangerous thing with my health condition, right? Lu Xuanji laughed and pushed Xie Fei Eyes forward. I'll leave this kind of dangerous thing to them in the future. I don't intend to play such a big game. Lu Xuanji knew his own physical condition very well. Not to mention going to the 4th or 5th floor, even if he stayed on the 1st floor, he might not be a match for anyone. However, Old Evil Lou did not believe in heresy. He believed that even in his current situation, he could still provide a certain amount of help in certain situations. So no matter how CFAIs persuaded him, he finally chose to come in person. He clearly told CFAIs that it was no longer his era. He would no longer charge into the enemy lines, but his experience would definitely be able to help the weaker ones. This was the reason why Lu Xuanji insisted on coming. You are really considerate. Zhua Langyue really admired Lu Xuanji for this. She felt that if it were anyone else in his situation, they would have a reason to shirk this matter. Moreover, he was able to send CFAIs and Lin Gu out, which was already a great help to them. Now he had to wear them himself. It could be said that he was playing with his life by using his severely weakened body. If everyone is here this time and I don't come, we won't be friends in the future. Lu Xuanji smiled and changed the topic. He didn't want everyone to pay attention to his situation. Although he was no longer as strong as he was in the past, he was still Old Evil Lou. He still had a strong heart. In this kind of place, no one wanted to be treated as a weakling. It seems that we really have to prepare a toast to Big Brother. Ancient Magpie World looked up at the sky. Zhang Jianji had been riding the crane for so many years. The heart-wrenching pain they once felt might have faded a lot, but whenever they thought about it, they would always feel uncomfortable. The expression on Lu Xuanji's face also slowly calmed down. Yes, Ancient Magpie World was right. It was indeed time for a toast. Chapter 4031. At this moment, Su Yun's plane was peaceful. Everyone had fallen into a deep sleep. Although this private jet, which was rumored to be quite large in Miami, has been confiscated, after all, it was Su Yun and Lin Gu who got it back. It was convenient for him to borrow it temporarily, he just needed to get a few permits. However, as the big boss of the Sky Entertainment Group, he didn't even have a private jet. It should be known that these days, even actors can afford to buy a private jet. It can even be said that not only those super first-tier big names bought private jets, but even some young idols who just debuted not long ago also mixed in with private jets. It can be imagined how easy it is to make money in this era. As long as the trick is deep, there will naturally be people who will give you money. Just before Xian Yuanji fell asleep, he inquired about the origin of this private jet and complained a lot. A big boss of a film and television group, whose annual box office earnings are several billion yuan. It's amazing that he has to temporarily borrow confiscated stolen goods. Speaking of this, Su Yun was also quite helpless. In the eyes of outsiders, the film and television industry is quite profitable in these years, but it is also very difficult to actually operate it. On the surface, the Sky Entertainment Group makes a lot of money in the box office. At first, Su Yun didn't know, but later, he slowly understood with Zhua Meiyan's reminder. Some of the phenomenon of the high box office movies in Huaxia over the years was actually officially acknowledged. Of course, this kind of thing can't be said, the leaders of the relevant departments will definitely stare at him. But in fact, only a fool would believe all those beautiful box office results. The seriousness of the box office leakage of Huaxia's movies is completely not understood by people outside the industry. These days, anything can be done. You can openly obtain a considerable amount of box office through public benefit screenings. Simply put, the capital group behind a movie owns many cinemas, and the cost of the box office of their own cinemas is only about 10% of the ticket price. Just like those black-hearted real estate businessmen in the past who drove up the price of the house, then found their own people to buy back most of the houses, and only sold the high-priced houses to a small number of buyers. The real estate businessmen themselves didn't have much capital investment, but in exchange, high house prices and a reputation of scarce housing. This kind of method of spending money to buy the box office of one's own cinema was already a secret that everyone in the film industry knew. Box office manipulation had been a well-known unspoken rule in the industry since a few years ago. The methods and standards were also uneven, and some of them were even inconceivable. Those who bought tickets through mobile apps must have encountered a situation where some of the less popular shows were full. When they were choosing their seats online, they found that the first 2 rows of seats had been sold out. As a result, Some of the matches that seemed popular and didn't have many seats, after entering the venue, they realized that not even 1/3 of the seats were filled. This was a common way to boost the box office, by cheating to increase the attendance. In addition to the attendance rate, the ticket price was also directly related to the fate of the box office. As there were many ticket sales channels at the moment, the ticket price was affected by many factors. Therefore, it was difficult to identify the trick of the price of some movies falling and then rising. However, if you saw that some movies with the original price and no discount were sold out, and there was no need to say that there was something fishy going on. If one believed that there was a tycoon in this world who was willing to spend several times more than others to squeeze in with everyone else to watch a movie, then they would really be a little stupid. Raising the ticket price was also a very common method. Soo-yoon didn't know these things at all in the past. He slowly understood it under Zwa Mayen's guidance. This was the so-called operation of the business. Soo-yoon didn't understand why people wanted to boost the box office at first. Later on, he slowly understood the reason. It wasn't because they wanted to save face at all, nor was it because they wanted to kill someone or something like that. The battle for the box office champion was just a superficial phenomenon. The actual capital operation was far more intense than the battle for the box office. The capital operation behind the film industry was definitely shocking to many people. Many capital crowdfunding companies made a big deal out of the box office. The higher the box office, the higher the return on investment. If a movie's box office exceeded 1 billion yuan, the return on investment could even reach more than 10%. This was already the return on investment that was extremely risky. However, when it came to risk, think about the development of the film industry in full swing, and think about the frequency of box office records that were easily in the billions. Then, a large amount of money would flow in. Then, this large amount of money would flow into various industries to provide nourishment for those industries that needed money. This was a real phenomenon. Soo-yoon tried to analyze it from the perspective of the development of the film industry. He told himself that this was also to hype up the popularity of Hwaseo's film and television market. This was also to lay the foundation for entering the international film industry. However, he still felt a sense of imminent danger. In today's society, people place too much importance on money. Therefore, everyone was more willing to play with the capital operation and make a profit before leaving. Take the film industry for example. Because of the continuous rise in the box office over the years, a lot of capital had already flowed into the film industry to develop. This was because everyone felt that there was profit to be made. However, this seemingly huge cake was hollow. There was no way to let everyone who pounced on it get a share of the cake. At this time, the relevant departments of the country would also take action to control the market to prevent chaos. The reason why this year's box office was far less terrifying than the box office of the previous years was very simple. It was because the relevant departments had taken action to control the market. Although this affected the expansion of the film and television industry, Soo-yoon felt that this was not necessarily a bad thing. Perhaps Soo-yoon looked at the development of the film and television industry with a critical eye, but he still felt that some positive energy was indispensable. When people were constantly criticizing the negative news of Hwaseo's film and television box office, Soo-yoon felt that Sky Entertainment Group, as the leader of Hwaseo's film and television industry, must be calm and collected. Therefore, when Soo-yoon held a meeting with the company's executives this year, he repeatedly raised a simple principle. Focus on the film itself. The actors and actresses in the film industry were all using their own passion and life to create works. Perhaps some movies did not resonate with people, and perhaps some movies could not convince people to pay for them. However, this was the real situation of the film industry, a situation where the good and the bad were mixed. In the eyes of businessmen, the film industry was a supermarket worth tens of billions. In the eyes of actors, it was a platform to realize their dreams. In the eyes of entrepreneurs, it was a challenging battlefield. What Soo-yoon wanted to emphasize was that everyone in the film industry had to treat themselves as an audience. Because in the eyes of the audience, it was a well-made film, a touching story. Only when the audience could find resonance, or find answers, or find excitement, or find comfort, would it be successful. Soo-yoon firmly believed that as long as Sky Entertainment Group kept this in mind, Hwaseo's film would definitely have a bright future. Regarding this point, RuanQingshuang was doing very well, so Su Yun was very confident. Of course, many of Zhua Meiyan's methods were not wrong. Because in this era, if she did not develop in this way, Sky Entertainment Group might have collapsed long ago, and there would not be the opportunity to support the entire Huaxia's film industry. Therefore, no one was wrong. Everyone was just doing the same thing in a different era. Based on the current situation, Su Yun was not in the mood to buy a private jet. He had considered it before, but now he felt that he should put more profits into developing Huaxia's film industry, nurturing more good screenwriters and writers, giving more opportunities and passion to young people, and creating a better environment for them to use their imagination. Only in this way could Huaxia's film industry develop better. The moment the plane was about to land, everyone sat up as if they had received a common notification. "Is that Masa Island below?" Zhua Meiyan looked out of the window. "But I don't see any other islands nearby. Could it be that Masa Franz Island is still very far away?" Lin Gu nodded. "I feel that there is definitely some distance between here and that lousy place. There are people living on this island. I see a yacht. This should be prepared by the Empress, right?" Xian Yuanji smiled. "Not bad, so well prepared." Chapter 4032. Everyone fastened their seatbelts as they spoke, and the plane landed safely. Bu Fifan was not disappointed this time. He immediately yelled when he saw Su Yun coming down from the plane. The airport was not like the large ones they had visited before. It was a small airport that only allowed one plane to take off and land. It was completely different from the huge airports in Yanjing that had T1, T2, and T3 airports. It would take around 10 minutes to take a car from T2 to T3 in Yanjing, but it would only take around 10 minutes to walk around the airport. Su Yun was dumbfounded when he heard Bu Fifan's yell. He knew that the people from the hunter's school would come. Even if Wang Yi did not tell him on the plane, he would not be surprised to see the people from the hunter's school here. After all, the people from the ancient magpie world were old man's brothers. However, he did not expect the ancient magpie world to bring Bu Fifan here. He was just a kid, a weak kid. Su Yun asked Bu Fifan suspiciously after he led the others down from the plane, "Why are you here too?" If the kid had snuck into the school, he would have shoved him into the plane and sent him away. However, if the kid had been brought here by the ancient magpie world, Su Yun could not do the same. After all, Bu Fifan was now a member of the hunter school. "I'm here on behalf of my instructor," Bu Fifan said. "Is Yi Yuan still in bad shape?" Su Yun asked. Bu Fifan nodded. "Now is not the time to talk about this. Let's go back, our principal is waiting for you." "Who else is here apart from your principal?" Su Ling said calmly. "The ancient magpie world has so many people under their command. Shouldn't they be more generous?" Bu Fifan didn't know Su Ling. He just glanced at her and didn't intend to answer her question. "This is Senior Su Ling. You don't have to hide anything from her. She knows your principal a lot better than you do," Su Yun smiled. Bu Fifan finally realized the identities of the people around him were not ordinary. Apart from instructor Yi Yuan, the principal has brought the other 7 instructors with him. The hunter school had 8 instructors: Dongfang Fan, Tang Yipeng, Bai Jian, Song Wuli, Qiu Hongxing, Yongwen Lin, Yi Shuai, and Yi Yuan. These 8 people were the ancient magpie world's proudest right-hand men. When these 8 people first made a name for themselves in this world, some people said that they were a group of people that the ancient magpie world groomed according to his own sworn brothers. A few decades ago, Zhang, Lu Xuanji, Lu Xianyu, Su Yueling, and Xian Yuanji. The ancient magpie world, Su Yueling, and Xian Yuanji. In the following days, the Zhang was the Zhangzes was called Zhang. Lu Xuanji was the evil god that no one dared to offend. Jin Guai became the Yen School's flying dagger master. Wang Yi joined the Dragon Brigade and followed Wan Guangxiao. The ancient magpie world founded the hunter school. Su Yueling was a legend among women. Shen Yuanji's superb swordsmanship was also called the Sword Immortal. The only one who was unreliable was Lu Xianyu. The ancient Magpie World's 8 people were almost the same as them. Dongfeng Fan and Tang Yiping were already famous. The others had also done things that shocked the world. As time passed, they would definitely make themselves stronger and stronger. The ancient Magpie World is still the strongest. Lu Xianyu sighed. We can't compare to them. In this day and age, if we don't have a few subordinates, we won't be able to survive. Who else is here? Bu Fifan glanced at Lin Gu. Your master and senior brother are here too. Lin Gu was happy when he heard this. The old man was actually here. Interesting. He had to ask the old man how much contribution he was going to make. Seems like many old friends are here. Let's not chat here. Let's go over. Wu Qiuzi said. We haven't seen each other for so many years. There must be a lot to talk about. There was a deeper meaning behind his words. Shen Yuanji said indifferently, even if there were any past grudges, it's been so many years. Let's not talk about it. It's good to focus on resolving this matter beautifully. Then I'll give face to the Wine Sword Immortal. Wu Qiuzi and Shen Yuanji got along well. When this matter is over, let's have a drink. Of course. When this matter is over, we must have a drink. Shen Yuanji laughed. Under Bu Fifan's lead, Su Yun and his team arrived at the guesthouse booked by Zhua Lingyue. When Onan saw Su Yun and his team, he couldn't help but exclaim, youngsters these days really can't be messed with. If you offend the wrong person, you might not be able to bear the consequences for your entire life. Do you still think that this is our era? Ling Feng said indifferently. It's no longer our era. Yes, it's long over. Kongshan faintly said, let's not talk about us. Even the Empress is clear in her heart. Although it seems like she took the initiative, the core is actually Su Yun. Even she is only assisting, so why talk about people like us? After Su Yun and his team arrived, Zhua Lingyue didn't meet too many people. Instead, she called Bai Xiaoye into her room. After both of them entered the room, they didn't know what to say. Bai Xiaoye was the first to break the silence. Don't worry, I will take good care of myself. Bai Xiaoye said, don't worry about me. Zhua Lingyue tried her best to calm down. Since you are already here, I naturally can't let you leave. However, you have to promise me that you won't do anything that crosses the line. I will. Bai Xiaoye nodded. I promise you that I won't do anything that crosses the line. Can you promise to stay on the first floor? Zhua Lingyue asked. Bai Xiaoye was startled. The first floor? I don't think it'll be a problem even if I go to the second floor, right? I know that with your ability, you can indeed stay on the second floor. However, I still hope that you won't force yourself. Zhua Lingyue said, if you stay on the first floor, no one will be able to hurt you. Even if those criminals join forces, they won't be able to hurt you. However, the second floor is different. None of us have been there before. As for the situation inside, that's just a theory. Perhaps it's not as dangerous as you think. Bai Xiaoye knew that her mother only said this out of concern. Don't worry. There's no need to think too much. Zhua Lingyue nodded. Although she didn't say anything, her heart felt stifled. However, if I don't say anything now, I'm afraid that I won't have a chance to say it in the future. Zhua Lingyue sighed. Although she had never been a good mother, she couldn't treat Bai Xiaoye the same way she treated other people when faced with all this. At this moment, Zhua Lingyue finally felt the importance of Bai Xiaoye. Blood relations would sometimes produce inexplicable emotions. Oh right, Mom. Bai Xiaoye said hesitantly, before I came, I called Xiao Qiao and asked her about it. She didn't seem to know anything about this. Zhua Lingyue nodded. I don't want her to get involved. However, I feel that if we hide this from her, it will hurt her, Bai Xiaoye said. Did you tell her? Zhua Lingyue asked. Bai Xiaoye shook her head. No. She wanted to say something, but she couldn't because she didn't want Xiao Qiao to get involved in this danger and trouble with them. The more dangerous it was, the more she didn't want her to get involved. I don't want her to know, just like how I don't want you to know about this. Zhuo Langyue said, I admit that if I didn't have a choice, I definitely wouldn't tell you about this. Because she had to tell Su Yun about this, Zhuo Langyue knew that she couldn't hide it anymore. Mom, I didn't understand you before, but I do now. Bai Xiaoye smiled. However, I also hope that you can understand me. I've grown up and have the mentality to make my own decisions. I'm really happy that you didn't use the excuse of, for me, to do something that I can't accept. Thank you. Chapter 40-33. Zhuo Langyue caressed Bai Xiaoye's hair. She didn't know what to say to Bai Xiaoye's gratitude. Mom, I know. Although you've been hiding it from me, you've always treated me like your daughter. Not only me but also Xiao Qiao. Bai Xiaoye said, even today, you still treat her like your daughter. I'm very satisfied. Although Zhuo Langyue treated Xiao Qiao well, she couldn't compare to her own daughter. However, Bai Xiaoye felt extremely touched and cared for by Zhuo Langyue's attitude toward Xiao Qiao. Let's talk about it after everything is over. Zhuo Langyue smiled faintly. You've been flying for so long. You should take a good rest and adjust to the jet lag. I've been sleeping on the plane. Bai Xiaoye shook her head. There's no need to adjust to the jet lag. We're just in time for midnight. It's pretty good. However, Zhuo Langyue still insisted that she rest more. Mom, when are we leaving? Bai Xiaoye didn't want to listen. Since so many people are here, we should have enough strength, right? Enough strength. Zhuo Langyue took a deep breath. Yes, on the surface, their strength had indeed reached a level that could be described as terrifying. For so many years, no one had been able to assemble such a powerful team. This had never happened before. Although she didn't dare to say that no one would be able to do it in the future, it was definitely unprecedented. Even when Su Chen was all-powerful, he didn't have such great appeal. Although all of this was not Su Yun's ability alone, it was closely related to him. At least one thing was certain, and that was that these seniors who were willing to take the risk would think highly of Su Yun. At the very least, they believed that he was a capable person, and were willing to sacrifice their old bones to protect him. If Su Yun was a useless person, these people wouldn't have come. Even if Su Chen had such appeal, he could only make Zhuo Langyue and her people risk their lives for him. Even if Zhang Jianji had great influence, he had already passed away. Therefore, everything that happened today was because of Su Yun. He had fought for all of this for himself. Aside from Lightning Lingfeng, Thunderclap Onan, Hurricane Kongshan, Blazing Sun, Howling Waves, and Dong Hai, who could not be mobilized by anyone other than Zhuo Langyue, the others were all here directly or indirectly because of Su Yun. Lu Xuanji, Jin Guai, Wang Yi, Lu Xianyu, Gu Magpie Realm, Su Ling, and Xian Yuanji didn't need to be mentioned. Moreover, Zhuo Langyue was very clear that Su Ling was not friendly to her. It could even be said that he hated her to a certain extent. But in the current situation, they still didn't communicate much, which was for the best. But for Su Yun's generation, they were all here for Su Yun's face. Of course, the previous generation also came purely for Su Yun's face. Wu Qiuzi, Gu Zueran, and the others were all here. Now, everyone was gathered together to discuss the plan. On the surface, Bai Xiaoye felt that he was very powerful, and there was no reason for him to fail. But Zhuo Langyue still didn't feel 100% confident. Even a powerhouse like her couldn't have 100% confidence, so one could imagine how many people felt the same way. It could be said that among the people present, the more powerful they were, the less confident they felt. On the contrary, the more mediocre young people felt confident. This was a realization of the saying, "Newborn calves are not afraid of tigers." Without experience, there was no fear. This saying was not false at all. But Zhuo Langyue couldn't dampen Bai Xiaoye's enthusiasm. If her confidence was damaged, it would be very disadvantageous for her in the future. Yes, if nothing unexpected happens, we can smoothly rescue him. Zhualangyue lowered her head as she spoke. She wanted to avoid Bai Xiaoye's gaze because she was worried that Bai Xiaoye would see through her lies. However, Bai Xiaoye didn't think so. Bai Xiaoye thought that it was because she mentioned him, the father who had no responsibility to her. Mom, do you think it's worth doing all this for him? Bai Xiaoye threw out such a question. Zhualangyue was stunned. Although I don't know what you guys are thinking, I don't think it's worth it. But personally, I don't think it's worth it. Bai Xiaoye said bluntly, perhaps all of you came here for him, but I didn't. If that's what you think, why did you come? Zhualangyue asked back. Bai Xiaoye blurted out without thinking, most of it is for you, for my brother. Only a small part of it is for him. You think so? Zhualangyue was stunned. At first, I had an impulse. I thought that no matter what, he is my father, and I have a reason to fight for him. Bai Xiaoye said, but on the plane, I thought a lot. What is it worth for me to do for such a father? To be more cold-blooded, it's not worth it at all. Zhualangyue was speechless. Indeed, Bai Xiaoye was right. It was not worth it at all. Putting aside the fact that he didn't even do anything to raise me, even if he did, he wasn't responsible for my life at all. He didn't help me at all and only left me with these worries and disgust. I have no reason to do anything for him. Bai Xiaoye's words were indeed a little cold-blooded. But Zhualangyue could understand because she was also a cold-blooded person. If she wasn't cold-blooded, she wouldn't have refused to acknowledge Bai Xiaoye as her daughter for so many years. In many people's hearts, family is just a shackle that they hate. But for the so-called ethics and morals, they have to bear this shackle, Bai Xiaoye said. Bai Xiaoye said, I don't know what my brother is thinking, but I feel that everything he did was because of this shackle. Zhualangyue was silent for a moment. Then what do you think he would do if it wasn't for the shackle of family? Zhualangyue asked. Bai Xiaoye shook her head. He won't give up because he is a very traditional person. You are the same. Zhualangyue sighed softly. Both of you have the same blood flowing in your veins. How can you not be the same type of person? Zhualangyue knew that Bai Xiaoye was speaking from the bottom of her heart. She wasn't lying. It was normal for her to have such thoughts. Everyone had a bottom line in their hearts. When their bottom line was touched, no one could tolerate it. Bai Xiaoye's bottom line had been touched by them. It would be strange if she didn't feel conflicted when she was asked to save a father who might not even know of her existence. However, all her emotions were brought up by Su Yun's influence. Therefore, by the time she realized her true heart, she was already here. All right, I admit that I feel the same. Bai Xiaoye smiled. Mom, don't worry. I can accept everything. Really, you don't have to worry about me. I won't do anything stupid. You don't have to worry about us either. Zhualangyue smiled. Actually, I'm not worried about you. Bai Xiaoye said, I'm more worried about my brother. For the first time, Zhualangyue felt an inexplicable sense of loss. Why? You are an empress at the peak of the profound sky realm. Who can touch you? Bai Xiaoye, however, asked back, but my brother is different. There must be someone stronger than him in the prison on Franz Island, so I can't help but worry about him. Zhualangyue felt a little better after hearing her daughter's words. However, she reminded her daughter of a very serious problem. There are some things that you can't be too sure about. Whether or not there is someone stronger than me in there, it's not something that you can decide. Perhaps everything isn't as simple as you think. Mom, you mean? Bai Xiaoye frowned. She realized that her mom was right. After all, even her unreliable father was locked up in there. Who knew what kind of people were locked up in the Marty Franz Island prison? Bai Xiaoye shuddered when she thought of this. This was a tropical island where the temperature was never lower than 30 degrees all year round. Chapter 40-34. Zhao Yang and Dong Hai, who had been away for many days, finally returned. They rowed the speedboat back to Massa Island. As soon as they came ashore, they felt a strong morale. Things were as they had expected. They didn't expect so many people to come in just a few days. When they saw some familiar faces, they didn't know how to greet them. Although they didn't know each other, they were just acquaintances. Although they didn't have any friendship, they couldn't tell if they had worked together before or done anything in common. Therefore, their understanding of each other was almost negligible. Zhao Yang and Dong Hai simply greeted them. Then, they walked over to Ling Feng and asked where the Empress was. They brought back news about Marty Franz Island. Upon hearing this, everyone's attention fell on them. Before Ling Feng went to look for Zhua Langyue, Su Yun directly shouted, "Stepmother, there's news. It seems like we have to prepare for action soon." Zhua Langyue and Bai Xiaoya heard Su Yun's voice from their room and immediately walked out. The others who were in their rooms also walked out one after another. Everyone's eyes were focused on Su Yun, waiting for Su Yun to speak again. "Don't look at me." Su Yun pointed at Zhao Yang and Dong Hai. "I heard them say that they brought back news. Look at me, I can't see any answers." "There's news?" Zhua Langyue went straight to the point. Dong Hai nodded and reported to Zhua Langyue, "There's some movement. According to the calculation and judgment, Marty Francis Island will surface at a position 300 nautical miles away from here at 3:15 tomorrow afternoon. It's the best time for us to land on the island and enter the prison." "Very good." Zhua Langyue had waited for so long and finally got this opportunity. Now that Su Yun had brought so many people, her chance had finally arrived. Regardless of whether they succeeded or failed, Zhua Langyue had to see Su Chen. As long as Su Chen was still alive, Zhua Langyue had to clarify this matter. What exactly caused Su Chen to be imprisoned in this damned place, never to see the light of day? Back then, there were so many people who said that he came in voluntarily. She had to prove this. If Su Chen was really willing to be locked up, then she really had to ask him why he was doing this. Was he crazy? In this damned place, he would never see the light of day for the rest of his life. Only a ghost would believe that he was imprisoned here voluntarily. Zhua Langyue had a splitting headache every time she thought of this question. She really couldn't figure it out. First of all, he, Su Chen, was not the kind of person who would stop at nothing. Secondly, with his strength, who would have the ability to control and imprison him? Back then, there were only a handful of people in the underground world who had the ability to do so. No. They were even rarer than phoenix feathers and qilin horns. It could even be said that it was a phoenix's horn or a qilin's hair. Whether it existed or not was still unknown. However, it was under such circumstances that the news of Su Chen being imprisoned in Marty Franz Island's felon prison spread. At first, many people couldn't help but doubt the authenticity of the news. However, as time passed, people slowly believed that Su Chen had really disappeared from the face of the earth. Unless he was imprisoned in the Marty Franz Island prison, how could he have disappeared? Later, it was finally confirmed. When Zhua Langyue learned of this fact, she was on the verge of collapse. In the following years, many people knew what kind of state Zhua Langyue was in, especially Ling Feng and the others. "Seniors, I don't know if you're ready." Su Yun realized that he should say something at this time, "And my brothers, you've stood by my side and given me so much support today. Su Yun has nothing to repay you with. Brother, do you think we're here for anything in return?" Lin Gu smiled. "We're not here for anything in return." "That's right." Wan Xiao shouted, "Today, we have the guts to come, and we're here to risk our lives. If we don't even have this courage, we're not worthy of being called brothers." "That's right." Qian Feng also said, "Today, we're here with the mentality of risking our lives. When we take action, just say the word, and I, Qian Feng, will be your vanguard. I won't complain at all." Led by the three of them, the whole atmosphere became excited, especially these young people. They had long been eager to take action in the Marty Franz Island prison for serious criminals. There were too many things they were curious about in this place. However, The older generation wasn't affected by this atmosphere. They had experienced many storms and waves, so they slowly got used to it. Only one person could get excited with the young people. Young people should be energetic. My blood is boiling too. Xian Yuanji smiled and wanted to say something to stir up the mood, but before he could speak, Su Ling patted him. Xian Yuanji turned back and asked, "What's the matter? Remember your identity and age. You're not a young boy like them." "Don't do this kind of thing," Su Ling said. "I just want to say a few words." Xian Yuanji was a little helpless. Even if I'm not young anymore, isn't it good to be hot-blooded once? Young people are hot-blooded. If you're like this, you're disrespectful. Su Ling said, "Let me tell you, Zhualangyue has been watching over there. Don't make trouble here and let others laugh at you. Remember, we're all people with status." Maybe Su Ling was right, but these things did not matter to Xian Yuanji at all. "Okay, I'll listen to you. I won't say anything." Xian Yuanji's hot-bloodedness was extinguished by Su Ling. However, Su Ling was very satisfied with this. She couldn't let these frivolous fellows around her lose face. Even if she didn't hate Zhualangyue now, she still had to stand on a high position. She couldn't let Zhualangyue look down on them. "When are we going to set off?" "Just set the time," Gu Magpie said. Gu Magpie just said. He was a person who liked to plan everything. He absolutely couldn't accept sudden orders. In such a situation, Zhualangyue still needed to say something. Regardless of whether they were willing to give Zhualangyue face or not, she was still the empress. They had to give her face. "Everyone here today is not fighting for me. Everyone knows who you're fighting for." Zhualangyue didn't reply to Gu Magpie Jie's question. She directly changed the topic. This topic changed everyone's attention again. "No matter who you're fighting for, I hope everyone can be more cautious. I hope everyone can retreat unscathed." Zhualangyue continued. "In addition, no matter who you're fighting for, it's inseparable from the Su family. Therefore, I'll hand over the command authority to Su Yun." Su Yun was stunned. To be honest, he wasn't mentally prepared for this. Before he came here, he had already made a decision. Even those who came here because of him also made a decision. They were all willing to hand over the command authority to the Empress. After all, she was the strongest person here. This was something that no one could deny. However, Zhualangyue actually handed over the command authority to Su Yun at this time, under the gazes of so many people. To be honest, no one thought that she would do this. After all, she was so high and mighty. It was simply inconceivable that the usually arrogant empress could actually tolerate others giving out commands in front of her. The scene became very quiet. Since no one has any objections, let's listen to Su Yun's arrangement. Zhualangyue smiled slightly. She looked at Su Yun and gave him an encouraging look. She believed that he could definitely do this well because the blood of the Su family flowed in his body. Zhualangyue's decision greatly boosted everyone's morale. After all, other than the 5 war gods, everyone present hoped to listen to Su Yun more. Zhualangyue had to admit this point. There was no other way. Who asked the people of the Su family to be so charming and daring? If it were her, she also hoped that Su Yun would take charge of the overall situation instead of her rigidly controlling the situation. Chapter 40-35. Since Zhualangyue had said so, Su Yun did not make any excuses. He should have done more than anyone else in this matter. With so many people, our boat should be enough, right? Su Yun raised such a question first. "Don't worry about that." Onan smiled. "I made the boat. Not to mention the few of us, even if more people come, it won't be a problem. Moreover, it is equipped with the latest gas turbine. The super-powerful configuration gives our fast yacht extraordinary performance. It is absolutely fast." Kongshan also nodded. "I will help him prove this point. This boat is definitely enough. I've seen it before. It's equipped with 8 gas turbines and 4 water jet propellers. This speedboat that Onan is building is definitely one of the most advanced in the world. Onan said proudly, I dare not say it is the first, but at least it can compete for the top 3. In that case, even with so many of us, this yacht can reach a speed of almost 50 nautical miles per hour, right? Su Yun asked. It will only be faster than you said. Onan said, I think it is possible to reach 60 nautical miles per hour. Wang Yi said, we have many people. Maybe it will affect its speed. If we calculate it at 50 nautical miles per hour, it is already a very fast yacht. 300 nautical miles. We will need at least 5 hours, but no more than 6 hours at most. Su Yun glanced at the clock on the wall. It was now 9 o'clock in the morning. Then we will set off at this time tomorrow. When Marty Franz Island appears, we will land immediately. Zhua Langyue reminded, the time of Marty Franz Island's appearance is uncertain. At most, it will be 72 hours, and at least 18 hours. There is no rule to follow. We can only calculate according to the shortest time and try to complete the operation within 18 hours. This was very important, because although there was no exact rule to the time of Marty Franz Island's appearance, there was a rule to how many days it would sink every time it appeared. Based on years of exploration, the pattern found was very frightening. After the emergence of Marty Franz Island this time, if it continued to sink, it would experience the longest sinking cycle every 5 years. This time, the cycle of sinking would be 49 days. 49 days was too long. If they couldn't get the people out in a short time, how would they survive the next 49 days if Marty Franz Island sank again? Moreover, the Marty Francis Island would undergo a huge seabed displacement in the next 49 days. Even if they could survive for nearly 2 months, the island would have moved to an unknown location by the time they came out. There were definitely no ships in the place they were at, and there were almost no inhabited islands around them. Even if there were, it would definitely be 300 nautical miles away. No one could swim 300 nautical miles out of this place. After all, this was not the coastal waters. Anything could exist in this kind of sea. Looks like we don't have much time left. Su Yun smiled. Let's go an hour earlier. The time after the island appears is too precious. We really can't waste a single minute. I agree. Bai Xiaoye raised her hand in support. Of course, it was better to do this as early as possible. There was no need to wait until the last moment. It was meaningless. Wang Yi also said, we have no problem with that. We're on standby. I'll sleep on the yacht tonight. Shen Yuanji laughed. We'll set off at any time. Wake me up in advance when you arrive. You can sleep until 3 in the afternoon. Ling Feng was a little helpless. It was said that the Wine Sword Immortal did things crazily like the waves. It seemed that this was true. Shen Yuanji didn't think so. What else can I do? Is there anything I need to do now? There's nothing I need to do. The greatest joy in life is drinking and sleeping. Everything else is fleeting. Why not sleep while I still have the chance? You're really something. Ling Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Su Ling warned Shen Yuanji again, don't talk so much. Lu Xianyu was acting very well. He didn't say a word carelessly. He deeply understood what Su Ling had told him. He had to be a person of status. He couldn't let others see him being so idle. Otherwise, it would be degrading. Others had brought the next generation, but he had nothing. At this time, he had to keep a low profile. Actually, I don't have much to say. Su Yun, I just want to emphasize one point. That is the strength of the prisoners in the Franz Island Serious Crime Prison. Those below the 3rd level are not so easy to deal with. I hope everyone can control themselves. It was indeed so. There were very few people who were qualified to enter the 3rd level. And those who had the ability to enter the 4th level, other than the 5 war gods led by Su Yun and Zhua Langyue, were the ancient Magpie World, Shen Yuanji, Su Ling, and a few others. If they fought until then, would they still be able to continue? Su Yun wasn't particularly worried about the people above. Not only did they have Yu Meiren as a medical support, but they also had Fan Shuang-er as an auxiliary support. And although they also had Wu Qiuzi as a medical support, they lacked a powerful auxiliary support. At this moment, Su Yun really regretted that he didn't say a few nice words to Huang Fu-Gua and let this powerful guy stay. If they could keep Huang Fu-Gua, the strength of the people they sent to the deeper level would definitely double. After all, he was one of the big shots of the Three Kings. What's that? Lin Gu suddenly looked up at the sky. A plane was flying over from a few thousand meters high. Just as everyone looked up, some small black spots appeared in the sky. As the black spots slowly grew bigger, they suddenly realized that someone was playing with a parachute. The people in the sky were flying freely, enjoying the feeling of flying in the sky and feeling the excitement brought by the Earth's gravity. When those people finally opened their parachutes, Lin Gu couldn't help but sigh again. I also want to fly once. It feels so good. I really envy these carefree people. There's nothing to envy. Su Yun smiled. After this matter is settled, I will bring you along to have some fun. Then let's make a deal. You have to bring me along to have some fun. Count me in. Me too, I want to participate too. The young people all started talking at once. However, the elders at the scene still looked up at those people who were parachuting. There were a total of 10 people. Zhua Langyue frowned and asked, "Is there a parachute club on this island?" "Of course not." Ling Feng shook his head. Furthermore, Marsa Island is the only inhabited island in the vicinity. Not to mention a parachute club, even if you can find an island with a large-scale parachute club, it would be at least 500 nautical miles away. If these people are from a parachute club, they definitely won't be so stupid as to jump to this place, Zhua Langyue said faintly. Ling Feng nodded. The Empress was right. Foreigners nowadays aren't afraid of death. These guys must have jumped to the wrong place. Shen Yuanji said, "These foreigners are courting death. They must be looking for an uninhabited island and didn't expect to jump to our island." After finishing his sentence, he even shouted to the sky, "They jumped to the wrong place. This isn't an uninhabited island. Do you think they are foreigners? Can they understand your standard Mandarin?" Su Ling asked. London's Mary Lillian bought a hua xia for her mother. Moscow's Fusky fell in love with beef dumplings. She had skin of all colors and hair of all colors. She was reciting the popular hua xia dialect, Shen Yuanji sang. Su Ling was completely speechless. This was definitely the worst time SHE had been slandered. They came prepared. Gu Magpie laughed. It's impossible to not recognize an uninhabited island from the sky. Even though Marsa Island isn't a big island, it has an airport, shopping malls, hospitals, and so many houses. It's impossible to miss them from the sky. If they aren't looking for an uninhabited island, they are here. That's pretty cool. We should have parachuted here when we came here, Qian Feng said to Wang Yi enviously. Wang Yi gave him a stern look. I don't want anyone to fall into the sea and feed the sharks before we reach Marsa. Chapter 4036. On the night after Wang Yi left Yanjing with the Dragon Fury team, Wan Guangxiao sat alone in his office and pondered. He didn't know why, but he felt more and more that this matter was dangerous, and that the success rate of this matter was extremely low. In the end, Wan Guangxiao picked up the phone on the desk and dialed a number he didn't want to dial. But now, he really had no other way. This was the last thing he could do for Su Yun. However, he knew very well what kind of risk he would have to take to do this. But there was no other way. He had to take the responsibility. The people of Dragon's Fury had been arranged. Although they avoided the problem of the system, if their safety couldn't be guaranteed, he couldn't bear this mistake either. Wrong to the end. Or now to find a way to make up for the huge wrong decision that his impulse might bring. Wan Guangxiao had thought about this question countless times, but he couldn't give himself an answer. After all, he wasn't an ordinary person. He couldn't be like other people and give up all the worries in order to help Su Yun. He still had the country's safety on his shoulders. He couldn't put all his eggs in one basket. After thinking about it, Wan Guangxiao helplessly decided to kick this problem that gave him a headache to Mu Baichen. Mu Baichen received a call from Wan Guangxiao at this time. He didn't need to think to know that it wasn't a good thing. Wan Guangxiao wouldn't call him if there was something good. Mu Baichen was very clear about this. Weren't the things that the dark department did all these years some trivial things? As a dark revered figure, he had long been used to it. But even if Mu Baichen had long been mentally prepared, after coming to Wan Guangxiao's office, he was still stunned by what he said. You actually let Wang Yi take those little bastards to Marty Franz Island serious crime prison? Mu Baichen's voice was so incredulous. He really couldn't understand why Wan Guangxiao, who had always been cold-blooded and indifferent, would make such a decision. Was this still the Wan Guangxiao he knew? I knew you would react this way, but... Mu Baichen raised his hand to signal Wan Guangxiao to stop talking. You can save these words for later. If this fails, do you know what you'll have to face? Of course I know. Wan Guangxiao shook his head helplessly. I can't bear this responsibility at all, so the more I think about it, the more I feel that something is wrong. That's why I called you. You should have informed me earlier. Mu Baichen slammed the table. Wan, I really have to hand it to you. Where are your principles? After so many years, you're such a principled person. How could you do such a thing? Helplessness was written all over Wan Guangxiao's face. I won't run away from my punishment. I'll leave the Dragon Brigade to you. I'm telling you, don't try to run away. There won't be such a day. Mu Baichen said, From the day I joined the dock department, you should know what I'm sacrificing. And what you're sacrificing, you know very well. It's impossible for you to withdraw now. If things get to the point where it can't be resolved, I have to take the blame. I won't let this happen. Mu Baichen didn't wait for Wan Guangxiao to finish speaking and directly interrupted him. Wan Guangxiao froze for a moment. You've decided to make a move? Then what else can I do? Mu Baichen said, Just watch those stinking brats die? With their broken level, they're just small characters in the Grandmaster realm, and they want to go to Marty Franz Island serious crime prison to show off their skills? Wan, it's not that I want to criticize you, but what's going on in your head? Wan Guangxiao didn't explain. He didn't want to talk about the so-called brotherhood between brothers. Because this matter had happened to Su Yun. These brothers who had grown up with Su Yun through life and death since childhood, if they didn't come out to support him, he wouldn't have enough confidence and morale. But Wan Guangxiao didn't want to talk about this, and even if he did, Mu Baichen might not understand. I don't know if I should let you go. Wan Guangxiao said, If I let you go, there will be too many things involved. Leader, if you want to mobilize the people of the Dark Department, that's a bit difficult. Mu Baichen said, But for me to mobilize the Dark Department, that's just a matter of saying a word. Wan Guangxiao froze for a moment. You want to? All along, principles have been worthless in my eyes. Mu Baichen said, You're such a principled person, but you've broken your own principles on this matter. I'm a person who doesn't like to abide by principles, so isn't it normal for me to make some small moves on this matter? Wan Guangxiao knew what this fellow meant. Mu Baichen glanced at Wan Guangxiao. When I make a decision on my own, no one can stop me. But you'd better remember that I made the decision on my own this time for you, for the Divine Dragon Brigade. But... You want to say what if I don't come back? Mu Baichen said disdainfully. Are you looking down on the people of the Dark Department? I've said it before, the people of the Dark Department can beat several of you. If you don't believe me, then I'll let you see it. Wan Guangxiao was helpless. What time was it? And Mu Baichen was still in the mood to joke. Mu Baichen could tell from Wan Guangxiao's serious expression what he was thinking. Don't worry, I won't die so easily. I know. Even if I die, as long as you're here, I can be at ease with everything here. Mu Baichen said, Wan, my words come from the bottom of my heart. Of course, this is not to say that I'm angry with you. You should know what I mean. I know that your strength is above mine. Wan Guangxiao smiled slightly. Mu Baichen was happy hearing this. It's good that you know. Let me tell you something, I also know that your leadership ability is above mine. Wan Guangxiao's smile was no longer so bitter. So do we still need to discuss this matter between us? Mu Baichen asked back. This matter should be done this way. Since you called me, you should be able to accept all my decisions. But I don't know whether this decision is right or wrong. Wan Guangxiao said helplessly. Mu Baichen smiled. If you could judge this decision, you wouldn't have called me here. You would have directly given the order, or not informed me at all. Leader, you don't think that I can't tell that you're kicking the ball to me, right? Wan Guangxiao shook his head and sighed. If you can tell, then so be it. There's no need to be so transparent. You're not the kind of person who likes to kick the ball to others. Mu Baichen also sighed. You're doing this because your position puts you in a difficult position. You have no choice but to make this decision. Wan Guangxiao felt a little apologetic. There are some things that you shouldn't have to bear, but now you have to bear them. Who told you to be the leader? I'll bear your pressure and share your troubles. This is nothing. Mu Baichen said lightly. But when I leave with my people, I hope that there won't be any missions from above. If there is, I'll help you take care of it. Wan Guangxiao said. With your words, I can leave in peace. Mu Baichen nodded. Wan Guangxiao looked at Mu Baichen gratefully. You must be careful. After all, that place is a place where anyone can be left behind. We all know that. Of course I know. Mu Baichen smiled. But I'm very curious. I also want to know just what kind of place could trap Su Chen. If he didn't deliver himself to the door, who would be able to get him in there? Wan Guangxiao was also troubled by this question for a long time. With Su Chen's strength at that time, only he could send people in there. No one else could lock him in there. But, do you know, before Su Chen was sent in, there was another person whose strength shouldn't have been caught. Wan Guangxiao said thoughtfully. Mu Baichen was stunned. You mean that guy? Yes. Wan Guangxiao nodded. Su Chen was sent in because of him. But as for why, I'm afraid none of us know. Who cares what kind of monsters are inside? If I want to go, I won't care about them. Mu Baichen's lips curled into a cold smile. It had been a long time since he felt so excited. And he also believed that the brothers of the Dark Department were also impatient. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.